disappointment. Now the vice president often tell me, since he got a seat as vice president, how many persons have I recommended in this government to serve in the government as presidential appointee? 0. Every appointment in Nima County was done by him. He and I would discuss something as a brother. To implement it, you will bypass me and do different things. I don't talk only.
Now you need to see us. The thing we saw, it frustrate us. So why can't you lie? Why can't you steal? Why can't you allow the citizens to be? You see, we just tell you that why we voted you. But you fool us, you screw us, you use us and later on abuse us. So why? The government should lie. Why? But that's the question that we ask.
The good person in our whole United Party, that President Parker. You want to say that again? The only person that appreciate good among all the United Party for that President Parker. The rest are ungrateful. The right, they use you and dumb you. But President Parker, if all of them were taking the President Parker and behaving the President Parker, United Party will have another chance in 2029. Just for now, they do not regard people that help them. I'm not.
3 of our soldiers were executed on this party ground. 2 at the back and 1 right at the headquarters. The man who shot and killed our people today is a darling boy in the Liberia National Police. They brought him back to shoot more guns. Get ready to shoot. Because we challenge the status quo appropriately.
Inform them in the violence, suspect any student that because of their action, it will be the day the entire Garguah administration will cut down. We will massively violate the students in this country and will shut down the Garguah administration. The day that happens, we have the capability to do so. And if they think this is their renovation project is a joke, let them try it. The fall of the Garguah administration begins with this. If they think they will temper on any student in this country or at the university like Garguah and water with impunity, while our children saving opponents and logic in the Western world, while we are subjected to actual poverty and bad living conditions here, and the thing will say. In
the first 100 days, no car will get stuck on a major road in this country. And I mean it.
You say it out loud?
It's going down. First floor. There you have it.
That led to decades of war still run deep. But so too does the longing for reconciliation. A reconciliation defined not by political bargaining or by an artificial balance of power by tribe, region, religion, or ethnicity, but by the equality of opportunity and a better future for all Liberians.
Boga can lie, the government, all the ministers in the government, they can lie. Okay. They put a hustle, they put a hustle, they lie. Everything they say, they never say the truth.
Today, the supporters of His Excellency Joseph Boakai presents him as a poor man from Lofa, and I said that he will understand the plight of the poor people. Fellow Liberians, do not be fooled. Vice President Boakai is not poor like you, not even as me. As Vice President, his office received more money from the government budget than any other Vice President has received in Liberia's history. He has enjoyed some of the best and most lucrative government jobs.
First of all, there's this, what I call sort of vicious lie about the fact that Mr. Pewee is gay or bring gay lifestyle to Liberia. It's complete bullshit. When people can accuse you of stealing people's money, when they can accuse you of being involved in the war, anything, people don't make up stuff. They don't make up shit. Excuse my language, right? So it's
disappointment. Now the vice president often tell me, since he got a seat as vice president, how many persons have I recommended in this government to serve in the government as presidential appointee? Zero. Every appointment in Nima County was done by him. He and I would discuss something as a brother. To implement it, you will bypass me and do different things. I don't talk on it.
Now you need to deceive us. The thing we saw, it frustrate us. So why can't you lie? Why can't you steal? Why can't you allow the citizens to be? You see, we just tell you. That's why we vote tell you. But you fool us, you screw us, you use us and later on abuse us. So why? The government should lie. Why? But that's the question that we ask.
The good person in a whole United Party that President Boaka. You want to say that again? The only person that appreciate good among all the United Party for that President Boaka. The rest are grateful. The right, they use you and dumb you. But President Boaka, if all of them were thinking the President Boaka and behaving the President Boaka, United Party will have another chance in 2029. But for now, they don't have. They do not regard people that help them.
Of our soldiers were executed on this party ground. 2 at the back and 1 right at the headquarters. The man who shot and killed our people today is a darling boy in the Liberia National Police. They brought him back to shoot more guns. Get ready to shoot. Because we challenge the status quo appropriately.
Inform them in the violence or any student that because of their action, it will be the day the entire Garguah administration will cut down. We will massively violate the students in this country and we'll shut down the Garguah administration. The day that happens, we have the capability to do so. And if they think this is the renovation project is a joke, let them try it. The fall of the Garguah administration begins with this. If they think they will tumble on any student in this country or at the university like going and work away with impunity, while our children saving opponents and logic in the Western world, while we are subjected to agile power and bad learning conditions here, and the thing will say.
In the first 100 days, no car will get stuck on a major road in this country. And I mean it.
You say it out loud?
It's going down. First floor. There you have it.
That led to decades of war still run deep. But so too does the longing for reconciliation. A reconciliation defined not by political bargaining or by an artificial balance of power by tribe, region, religion, or ethnicity, but by the equality of opportunity and a better future for all Liberians.
Boaka can lie, the government, all the ministers in the government, they can lie. They don't put all hustle, they put hustle, they lie. Everything they say, they never say the truth.
Today, the supporters of His Excellency Joseph Boaka presents him as a poor man from Lofa and asserts that he will understand the plight of the poor people. Fellow Liberians, do not be fooled. Vice President Boaka is not poor like you, not even as me. As Vice President, his office received more money from the government budget than any other Vice President has received in Liberia's history. He has enjoyed some of the best and most lucrative government jobs.
First of all, there's this, what I call sort of vicious lie about the fact that Mr. Pewee is gay or bring gay lifestyle to Liberia. It's complete bullshit. When people can accuse you of stealing people's money, when they can accuse you of being involved in war, anything, people don't make up stuff. They don't make up shit. Excuse my language, right? So it's complete nonsense. I'm married, 8 Teresa, 2 children, 5 grandchildren. I believe in traditional family values, so it's complete bullshit, complete nonsense.
young man, vice president, young man that are vice president, the major stole 500,000. I mean, Jamaica, the major went to, I forget that Jamaica, the majors went to Ghana, the fit, and they may bring it all company in the country. I mean, Kun, they can reach yourself. Kun, man, you know, Kun, but I want to sophisticated, quiet, hardcore rule in Labro. When Labro, when
2029 come and pass, then you finally leave. Mission is completed. Now, what the rules of engagement? When the war ended, the guy said, the captain, the commander said, mission complete. There wounded out first. All men on board.
Everywhere there is no school, I'll put school. And everywhere there is school and school in bad condition, I'll renovate it. I told them, towns and villages, everywhere you will have lights in a town for children to play and people to see. I told them, every town will have safe drinking water.
If Charles Taylor is the problem, he will be out of here in the twinkle of an eye. And I say, let well-meaning Liberians come home. If we respect this constitution, a government formed in Accra is a violation of Article 1 of the Constitution. Let them come home. Let that government be formed in Monrovia.
The government that capital Rosemont, B road, all kinds of places. I think the reason Joseph Baga will not do much because the old man, the papa is suffering. The papa loves the country, but he can't make it. The criminal there around him, they sophisticated than him. They are sophisticated criminals, so they can't make it.
Your league Costa, God know how to pay people. It's just simple. Costa that accused everybody but himself. Everybody, Joe, we join, we kill Joe, he killed Joseph Boaga. Boaga still living. Joe, when I go, no, you leave better. He made me senator. He almost made Joseph Boaga president until he screwed up. We gave God his glory. Yeah. Well, Boaga, when he screwed, he said, oh, we don't want to make sure we will fought for him to be reconciled with the president. And then the people who fought for him. Look, Yoli Costa, you come. And Costa was in a podcast, he said, they don't been calling me. Okay. The time you were calling me for me to kind of Boaga, did I put it on radio? That immaturity to do what you're talking about.
And I guarantee you, when we finish, there will not be a winner or the loser. Today we all wear the jersey of Liberia, and the victory belongs to the people, to the peace, and to our democracy. As we begin to build upon the foundation of this new Liberia, I, George Seleke Kromah, the new president, will first give thanks and praises to the Almighty God for the blessing He has bestowed upon our country. And I say, my people, thank you,
We elect on 85 irresponsible men what happened to our country. We elect on 85 irresponsible men to govern this country, not to be very irresponsible.
So folks, welcome to the Closing Argument Show. Wherever you're watching us live from, if you're following us via the page, the Closing Argument page, or whatever means you're watching us, I'd like to appreciate you guys for following. I'd like to appreciate every one of you guys for watching the show. Keep following, keep sharing the show. It's exactly 16 minutes down south, 10 o'clock. We were to be on at 9 o'clock due to some technical adjustment. We are back on at 10 o'clock here. So earlier we were to be on at 9 o'clock, but due to this technical adjustment, we are on at 10 o'clock. So keep sharing the show. I'll be joined by Mr. Sylvester Pewee, Dr. Henry Barry, Mr. Chief Tomalin George, and the rest of the folks. I'll be joined by them to bring you this special edition of the Closing Argument Show. So, too many things to be discussed. We have a specific discussion tonight. You are aware of this trending news on the social media and within our country and its surrounding about this issue of Mr. Samuel Jackson and his fiancée and his wife who died on yesterday. So there are too many things, too many circumstances surrounding her death that is being investigated by the Liberia National Police. So earlier on yesterday, we were on the same show, giving some analysis, discussing some updates, discussing some investigations that were being conducted by some other folks, and also the Liberia National Police. As they carry on their investigations, they will inform the public about some of the things and how far they have gone with this investigation. So, for those of you who are watching, I would like to appreciate you guys to just share the show. We will be joined by the other folks any moment from now. They will be on, but we'll play some of these teasers so you can take a listen to them and know what are some of the things that we are about to talk about tonight. Because for those of you who are not following, it might be sounding strange to you about this issue, but for those of you who've been following from yesterday up to today, the entire live coverage we have been doing, you've been following, so it may not be strange to you, but for those of you who just joining, it may be strange to you, but you guys who have followed up from the beginning up to now, you have already been up to date as it relates to this matter. But firstly, yesterday, after the Liberia National Police received this information of Mr. Samuel Jackson with the death announcement, they firstly sent people at the mortuary to inspect the dead body, and then later they had some evidences to prove to a little tip that it got from some inside sources as it relates to this Manantulin Jackson death. So later on, it was how the Liberia National Police deployed armed men at Mr. Jackson's residence on yesterday evening, and then right after that, it was how Mr. Jackson came out, and then later on he saw the folks from the Liberia National Police have already been deployed at his home, and then it was how he started to go live. Within no time, we saw it, and then appear on the scene. Later on, we had an interview with Mr. Jackson explaining some of the things that went wrong behind him, and then by going to assess his wife who have died body without his consent. In that light, he saw it to be something that Liberia National Police were going after him, or whatever the case may be. But it didn't stop there. We saw Mr. Jackson was on the social media last night, posting so many comments, posting so many things on the social media, giving out some alarm, like we read on the show last night, giving some counts about how he and a wife interacted, how he have some time with his wife before this her departure. There are too many things that are surrounding this death, and now we are seeing the Liberia National Police are now carrying on investigation into this matter. But we wait to see the final investigation to be done. But last night we heard from the spokesperson of the Liberia National Police, who in person of Sam Collins, who gave the media some information, also the public some information as it relates to this matter. And then Mr. Sam Jackson was asked on today at 11 o'clock to be present at the Liberia National Police headquarters. And then later on, he accepted, and then he was at the Liberia National Police headquarters today at 11 o'clock, where we escorted him along with a police vehicle from his home up to the Liberia National Police headquarters at 11 o'clock this morning. And then right after Mr. Jackson came, he was represented by his legal representative in person of Mr. Grease. Councillor Grease is his legal representative alongside other councillors were all present to represent their client in presence of Mr. Samuel Jackson, who have allegedly been involved into this his wife death. But the Liberia National Police is still investigating this entire matter to know what are some of the circumstances surrounding her death. But Mr. Sam Jackson, according to the Liberia National Police report, he had been person of interest based on the Liberia National Police investigation. Mr. Sam Jackson had been persons of interest. So because of this, he was invited to the Liberia National Police headquarters to answer a few other questions that are necessary to be answered from the Liberia National Police towards Mr. Samuel Jackson, because he's the husband of the late Tony Jackson, and also many people are wondering the death of Madam Tony Jackson, because we have been hearing so many circumstances surrounding her, because footage have been trending on the social media that she was beaten, and then bruises were all on her back or on her face and her entire body. So many Liberians are now questioning if this act was done by Mr. Samuel Jackson, or it was something else happening to her, whether she fell off, because this is the report we are gathering from Mr. Samuel Jackson, that she fell off home, and later on when they rushed there, they were able to carry her at the Catholic hospital. Prior to taking her at the hospital, Mr. Jackson posted that they need ambulance to help assist him in the process, but there could be no avail of ambulance to rush her at the hospital. So when he was asked on why not he take his wife at the hospital with his private vehicle, and then Mr. Jackson responded that at the time he needed ambulance to take his wife at the hospital because of oxygen. She needed oxygen at the time, but because he never had oxygen within his private vehicle, that's why he couldn't take her in his vehicle to the hospital, but rather he needed ambulance at the time, but it could not be available. So he was disappointed in the health sector in the Republic of Liberia. But then, before we gathered this information about so many circumstances surrounding her death. So when later he posted, too many Liberians were questioning how did this happen? How could this happen? We did not hear about sickness. And then it had, according to sources, according to Mr. Jackson, and also the footage, some of you who have been on the social media watching some of the footage that you have been seeing, there's some footage that have been surfaced on the media wherein you saw like a sewing mark within the head. It is true that mark is true, because Mr. Jackson confirmed that there was a brain surgery was made on her head after she fell down. That was the information we got from Mr. Jackson, that she fell down. So in that process, there was a brain surgery was done on her head, and later on at that night, Mr. Jackson said she's between life and death, 50-50. So, but early in the morning, it was how he confirmed her death. But now, through the investigation team that was sent, through the forensic investigative team that was sent to whom today they did the forensic testing, and then they went back at the Liberia National Police along with Mr. Jackson. So when he appeared at the Liberia National Police along with a legal representative, all the entire matters were being handled in with the Liberia National Police, along with his legal representative, who were also in. After the matter, they were sent at Mr. Jackson's home to do the entire searching process, to do the entire investigative process to see whether this was done at his home or whether someone else did it or it was something natural. So today, the forensic investigative team went on and did their investigation, but they could not report it out to the public right now. So they are doing their investigation. They are finding out to know what exactly went wrong. But Liberia National Police said they are going to update the public as it relates to her death, as it relates to this entire saga. So they were at the mortuary, took some specimen to test on her body to know who were those that did it, the act, or if this was like a natural phenomenon that happens to her. But people are still in that. Liberians are still concerned about her death because she's a foreigner. She's from South Africa. Tuning Jackson, that's her name, the late Tuning Jackson. So they are putting her to the entire burial process as the investigation unfolded here. So 29 minutes down inside 10 o'clock. So we will be joined by Chief Tomalin George and Dr. Henry Peabody and the rest of the folks on the closing argument show. My name is Myean the Torgbean. I'm just bringing you up to speed as it relates to this update from the Liberia National Police as it relates to Mr. Jackson's wife, the late Tony Jackson, who died on yesterday after Mr. Jackson confirmed on his social media outlet. So many Liberians are now posting friends, family members, well wishers, and his ex-wife also been posting. So people are now asking some of his ex whether he used to beat on them, because that's some of the speculations that have been in the media as to whether he usually beat on his ex. And if it is true, maybe probably that could resolve to that because there were so many bruises on her body. And then Liberia National Police had a footage of it, and also we saw a footage that she sent to one of our friends within South Africa, explaining some of the things that she was going through by Mr. Sam Jackson, through the conversation that we read between she and her friend, sending so many chats, pictures, and other stuff, recordings, telling her friend what are some of the things she's going through, some difficult time with Mr. Jackson. It is alleged, we yet to confirm it, but it's alleged that he usually beat on her from the footage, from the chat we saw on the social media from our friend. This was a chat our friend released to the Liberia National Police as they go about doing investigations. But too many things are going on in this investigation. Liberians are concerned, and also we are seeing some of our brothers, our sisters who are in the diaspora. Everyone are concerned because you cannot leave your country, go to another country, and then experience this. It's kind of sad. Or any of your family members to leave from Liberia to go out to another country, and then they being killed or something else is happening to them without any audit, any investigation, and then reliable sources from that area. That which, of course, we all see it necessary that the investigation should go further, and whatever that comes from the investigation, that's what Liberians are now going to believe or that's what Liberians are now going to take now. But this issue, so many things are going on. So Liberians will be concerned about this matter because with a foreigner leaving her country from South Africa, now coming to Liberia to see this SIRE incident is somehow disturbing. But we will play this update from the Inspector General of the Liberia National Police when we had interview with him just an hour ago. Let's play this interview from the Inspector General of the Liberia National Police, Inspector General Aji Kehleboe Gongloe. Let's see where we can play this recording. This live was done by me at the Liberia National Police. Let's play this and be right back.
As far as we are, the investigation still continues. He is now set out, and he will be kept here while we continue the investigation.
IG, you say the suspect. Any charges left?
At this point in time, Mr. Jackson is not charged. We have 48 hours to investigate, come up with the charge, and present him to the nearest court. And I can guarantee you his rights will be protected under the law. Within that mathematical calculation for legal detention, he will be presented.
When?
How long he lasts? Well, listen, you that will be a demo. And remember, as soon as the court opens, we have it presented to the court.
Tuesday. I mean, you'll be leaving Tuesday.
That means what?
You'll be leaving Tuesday to the court.
Tuesday.
Monday is a holiday.
Well, this place is not a very so if you want to stay up. There's one thing I know you're here. What are sleeping?
Is it only Mr. Jackson or the other two persons of interest as well?
Well, I think there's one of them. One of them has been released. The other one is going to be here as well because we're still talking to them. The lawyers are here. We guarantee their rights will be protected under the law. And as soon as the court is open, they will be presented before the court is charged.
Are you keeping the South Africans involved in what is happening because that's their citizen?
The South Africans are well informed of every step of the way. At this point in time, they are basically part of the investigation. We're on the line with them, keeping them abreast of every action. Hopefully, there will be an autopsy because there has been a recommendation from the coroner for further post-mortem examination. So hopefully, at the earliest, we should be conducting that, and South Africa will be a part of that as well.
Okay, sir. Thank you. So that was the voice of the IG. Seleke Kromah is now leaving the presence of the Liberia National Police here. He's the Inspector General of the Liberia National Police, IG Kehleboe Gongloe 100. That's the number on his page. So this is how we like to come to the end of this entire broadcast, as we have heard from the Inspector General of the Liberia, Mr.
So you just listened to the Inspector General of the Liberia National Police, IG Kehleboe Gongloe. They're giving update, like I said earlier, you have given update as it relates to this matter. So for those of you who are watching, I just appreciate you guys to keep sharing. We will be joined by the other folks on the Closing Argument show to bring you up to speed with this development. This is the training news right now on social media as it relates to the late Tony Jackson. Liberians are now concerned, the entire public is now concerned about this matter. So we will be joined by the other folks to bring her up to speed from this situation here. So we are bringing you some analysis on this matter, but tomorrow morning, according to the IG, he will be there up to the time the court will open. And when the court open, they will be sent at the court. But there were three persons, one driver, one cook, along with Mr. Jackson, and then the two others were kept at Liberia National Police, while one person had been released. But the IG never disclosed on what ground he was released. But Mr. Jackson was just sent there today, and the two fellow that went were there on yesterday prior to Mr. Jackson's invitation. The cook and that of the driver were sent at the Liberia National Police for question and answer. So one person have now been freed to go home, and then Mr. Sam Jackson, along with the other fellow, is still at Liberia National Police headquarters. So this is something serious that everyone are now concerned about, how this matter is going to be addressed, how the Liberia National Police is going to update the public and the South African government, because she is from South Africa. So these people, they don't take things lightly. They don't take things easy, most especially with this report coming from Liberia as it relates to one of their citizens. That's how we as Liberians, when we hear some negative news about our brothers or our sisters in other foreign countries, that's how it sometimes be like. But we hope to see Liberia National Police to come up with the investigations. What was the findings from the entire investigations that were done? But we have been told that the South African embassy is also into this matter. They are following closely. They are allowing the Liberia National Police to carry on their own investigation, and then right after their investigation, whatever that come out from this matter, they are going to address the Liberian government on behalf of their citizens who pass off in Liberia. So, folks, whether you're watching us live from, just keep following, keep sharing the show. My name is Myean the Torgbean. We are here bringing you some analysis, and as we go further, we will also open the lines to hear from other folks who are also following, who have been following this live, and also for other people who may be aware of this case to make their input, because this is our country matters. We cannot allow our country to be on the line for a wrong reason. So many people are now questioning. It's not about political affiliation. It's not about witch hunt. But we hope to play some of these clips that were unfolding at the Liberia National Police headquarters today after Mr. Sam Jackson left his home with the forensic report team, and then when he went back at the Liberia National Police headquarters, he could not return home on today. So the Inspector General made it clear that he's going to be there. The Liberia National Police is now a bare room. He's going to remain there until they finalize this entire matter. But according to the IG, Liberia National Police headquarters is not a bare room. So when they are there after the holiday, he's going to be sent to court for further investigation after Liberia National Police will find out any charges or whatever the case may be, and then Mr. Jackson, legal representative, will also go to the court to know what's the next step they can be taken. If he's found guilty or not, they are going to file in and then go through the trial to know who's guilty or who's not guilty. But let me play this video early this morning from Mr. Jackson at Liberia National Police headquarters on today. So for those of you who are watching, keep sharing, keep following the Closing Argument show. Let's go for this.
My lawyer will speak to you. Yeah, they come.
So do you believe that you leave the premise of the headquarters of the Liberia National Police on today?
I'm a lawyer. Is that your lawyer behind you there, sir?
You appear very stressed. You appear very stressed.
Are you a psychologist to know why I'm stressed on that?
Okay, Chief, what's your name, sir?
I'm Councilor Griggs.
Okay, Councilor.
Of the Clement Associate Law Firm.
Okay, so you've escorted your client here this morning. What's the conviction?
Well, as respecter of the law, we have to come upon request. And it's the criminal investigation and accusation. We have come so that we will be full abreast of what the complaints against our client is and what the trend of the police investigation is. But we know that as the trend of investigation will be from the information received by our client, we are able to put up a very lawful legal defense.
What did your client tell you? What did your client
we cannot
tell you?
say now for some reason of not going ahead the trial and the proceedings.
Today is Saturday.
What are they accusing your client of? No, criminal investigation will take time.
So
obviously we now have a criminal investigation commence today, and we'll have matter going to court today. So we are aware of that. We are cognizant of that.
So Mr. Jackson is now speaking to his legal representative here.
Come again?
You are optimistic.
Do you think your client will leave?
What Mr. Jackson is a respecter of the law, and the trend of police investigation. I'm sure he's willing for any eventuality.
We just saw him whispering. Yeah, what were you telling you?
Clients written a series of interviews and some of the comments he made to be used in the investigation.
Where do you stand on that?
Well, there is a principle of law that talks about hearsay and solicitation of facts, all sort of regular investigation.
Okay.
And those gathering when brought.
So they are not been asked to go in. They're not been asked to. Mr. Jackson, what's the last for people going in? Mr. Jackson, what's the last for people going, Mr. Jackson? Mr. Jackson, what's the last for people going? What is the last for people going, Mr. Jackson?
Facts will speak for themselves. Thank you very much.
Okay, you listen to him, his last voice. The facts will speak for itself. You listen to Mr. Jackson. He's not been escorted by his legal representative here at the headquarters of the Liberia National Police. You are aware, today is Saturday, not a working day. It's not a working day, so you see officers have now barricaded the entrance into the.
So these were some of the videos from the Liberia National Police headquarters today. Though too many things happened at the Liberia National Police headquarters after Mr. Samuel Jackson were escorted by folks from the Liberia National Police from his home at 11 o'clock. He was represented by his legal counselor, Reverend Counselor Greeks, who represented him along with other legal counselor at the Liberia National Police headquarters. So on this matter, there's a deeper story that will be uncovered by the Liberia National Police. But we are still here. Let me welcome Chief Tomalin George, who have been in the back for a couple of minutes now. So Chief Tomalin George, welcome to the show. If you have the time, you can just come on.
Yeah, Myean. Thank you, Myean. We've been working the phone lines, so we so yeah, it is true that let me say first of all, welcome to everybody, and thank you, Myean, for spending your whole day at Liberia National Police. You guys have been very busy this whole week, the last 48 hours. And at least for going the extra mile, at least we'll make sure we find something for the Sunday for you. You did well today. At least you were alive, and so at least the management decided that it will make you happy at least for the weekend. So are you alone being on the beat?
Yeah, on the island. 7 o'clock this morning, early this morning.
And Joseph,
7 to 7.
And Joseph he's at the Guinea in the northern border. He was in Guinea, monitoring the crisis. I think he's on the way because he was in Guinea interviewing the people, checking on what's happening at the border, the Liberian Guinean border. Where's Anthony? Anthony is in the southeast, right?
Anthony went signed up with I think one of the lawmakers to cover him.
Okay.
Yes.
But let us I know some of the guys go to this Saturday. Everybody and the weather has changed, so most of the panelists are taking advantage of the nice weather to mingle and interact with their friends. But we decided to take the time to come and at least engage the public about what's happening. So my understanding is that Mr. Jackson is president at the Liberia National Police headquarters. He's been detained for the night. And if you listen to the police inspector general, what they are trying to do, you can tell that he said he's not under arrest because the people were saying they're looking for the 48 hours mark, and they won't start on. But tomorrow is a holiday. The holiday we celebrate that on Monday, so they will keep Mr. Jackson there tomorrow and say they're still talking to him, but they won't tell him he's under arrest yet. But I can tell you, come late Monday or Tuesday, they're going to formally arrest him and charge him. And my understanding is that today, when they went to his house, the police they realized that the entire quote unquote crime scene was cleaned up. So the police, there's nothing, they couldn't trace anything at the crime scene. But what I'm told that they're going to reconstruct the scene according to what I'm hearing from the police. But the only car they have right now, they got into which is the autopsy to be done. I'm hearing tomorrow, 12 o'clock. The police will be performing an autopsy on the body to determine the cause of death of the late Tony Kamara Jackson. So that's where they are right now. So Jackson is at Liberia National Police headquarters tonight. He's been detained. I think one of the holding cell perhaps, and they're going to perform the autopsy tomorrow at 12 o'clock. And based on the autopsy results, I'm sure they will be moved to formally charge him or declare him under arrest, and perhaps on Monday or Tuesday. But like everyone's saying, we mourn the death of Mr. Jackson's wife. We know he's going through a tough time. And let me make it clear, he's considered innocent until proven guilty in a court of competent jurisdiction. So right now, the police have determined he's a person of interest. But the police IG also said that he's elevated onto to the word suspect. So he's not interested again, he's a suspect. So, but for now, in the eyes of the law, he's considered innocent, and until he's proven guilty. So we pray that this case will find a logical and transparent conclusion. Liberian police have come on a lot of criticism for the way they handle other cases. And so we're looking forward to seeing that this case, especially involving a foreign national and her government, the South African government, they are involved in this case. They have taken keen interest into this case. So we're looking forward to show that justice prevail and Mr. Jackson's rights will be respected. He'll be given a fair trial, due process. And if the facts lead to him being involved, yes, he's my cousin, but let the law take its course, let justice be done. But if he has no link to it, he should be considered a free man. So we're looking onto the system, and let's see how the system will play. So, Myean, today you went to his house with the police. When they went to the house to check his house, you went along with them.
Yes, I was there present.
So tell me what happened when I went there. What happened? By the way, if anybody wants to come and join us tonight, if you have any way to come, let us know. We'll send a link to you, and let's talk.
Yeah, so if you anyone who are in the comment section or watching, if you want to join the conversation, just let us know. We will send you the link. You also come on tonight to have a say on this matter.
Yeah, Myean, go ahead.
So Yeah, so with this, firstly, we went at his home with the team. Firstly, when we were allowed to enter the fence, and then later on, we were covering Mr. Jackson along with the team while the forensic investigators were carrying on their job. And then we were also there doing our work. So when we later entered Mr. Jackson's living room, doing a live coverage, it was how the guys told us that we will have to get out because they want to do their job. So we never had the opportunity to follow the team within all of the rooms to know where are some of the places that were shown out to Mr. Jackson or by the Liberia National Police to know where these incidents took place. But we were just having the opportunity to be within the fence doing live coverage because there were we had the opportunity to be, and then the team went in his house, searched all of the rooms, the doors, the windows, the entire porch, searched everything, took pictures, took specimens, and everything, wiped the entire floor, whatever water that was there, they wiped everything, put it in something, and then they were later on hand everything over to Liberia National Police headquarters for further investigation. And then we were there, we followed the entire process up to now. And when Mr. Jackson is still at the Liberia National Police, while other people are still questioning her death on this matter. So, but we're still following up to that time. We still following to see if the Liberia National Police is going to come up with another investigation to tell us how this entire matter go about, how she was killed. But we are still there. So two persons that were sent yesterday at the Liberia National Police. One person have been released, but Liberia National Police Inspector General did not mention on what ground. One of the guys who were sent were released, where they had the cook and also the driver. So one of them were released by the Liberia National Police to go, while the other one were told to remain at Liberia National Police headquarters for question alongside Mr. Jackson. But one of the question, the interesting part of the RG statement was that Liberia National Police is now a bare room for suspect or whatever the case may be to sleep at the Liberia National Police. So they are waiting. As soon the court resume, they will be sent to the court for further investigation. So, Mr. George, that's just update from our end here.
Okay. But his how many lawyers Mr. Jackson have we had at the place today?
So we saw there were three lawyers, but only two were allowed to enter the premises. We also saw there's a lawyer who who was the head of legal representative, Reverend Councilor Greece was his legal representative who were there present. But only two were allowed to enter the Liberia National Police. They were firstly three were allowed. But later on, when they went to do the forensic test and other stuff, when they came back, only two were allowed to enter, and the other one left out up to this time. So the other two were staying until we later came home at about 8 o'clock from the Liberia National Police headquarters.
Oh, okay. So you said the cook and the other person that was arrested yesterday, they released one person?
Yeah, one person was released, but the Inspector General never mentioned on what ground he was released. But he did confirm to us that one person was released on today rather, by Liberia National Police. But he never made it specific to know why this person was released. But he only said that this person have been released, but the other guy will remain there because we are still asking him questions. So Mr. Jackson also sleep because we are still asking him questions. He also sleep at the Liberia National Police headquarters. That's the only way they will find some solution out of this problem. So some of the legal representative plead that he should be released and sent home, and then the next day he can be able to come back at the Liberia National Police to see how best they can continue the process. But that wish did not materialize because Liberia National Police said they will be able to keep Mr. Jackson and the other guy at the police station to maintain the entire investigation status to see how best they can go further. Because if you take Mr. Jackson from the Liberia National Police, sign for him, and then carry him, it might be tempting with the entire case, because whatever questions that were asked, whatever things that were said, maybe probably you might be carrying him to find other solutions, to find other answers to that matter. So they will keep Mr. Jackson and the other guy at the police station to see how best they can go through the investigation, to see how best they can ask them some other questions so that he can find answers to them. If not, when the courts open, whatever investigations they have compiled together, whatever results they will find, if they reveal to the legal representative of Mr. Jackson, if they don't certify, they should be able to reach to the court, because it's the court that decide whether Mr. Jackson is found guilty or not. It's from the court that the court will say, yes, this person, whether his legal counsel will say, yeah, if he's found guilty, let file a bond for or hearing again. If that is accepted, they will go to the hearing, and then if there's any way the family from Madam Tony side will accept, then they can be able to go through that hearing. But if not, if he's found guilty, probably he might go to jail for lifetime, or they be able to see how best they can find another solution to that matter, whether he will be able to go to file a bond or to pay for whatever damage it may cause. But I don't think in cases like that, you might be able to pay whatever the cash may be, or rather you go and serve your term in jail. So that's the latest update. But as we go further, we will bring you up to speed with this investigation. But we are seeing medical report.
I open the phone lines a little bit, okay?
Yeah, we are seeing the medical report from the hospital as it relates to Madam Jackson. So 077764986.
What medical report are you talking about? Where is it?
Let me see what I can send you them so you can see. 077764986. Let me see what I can send you. The medical report that we have here from the hospital. 077764996. 077764996. +231 777649986. For those of you who are watching us, keep following the show. Let's see, we have someone who is online here. Let's pick up this very first caller. Hello, caller.
But you posted a number?
Yeah, good evening. Your name and where do you call from?
My name is Anthony Carter, calling from Unemployment Road.
Okay, make
I'm
a point.
listening to the conversation, but trying by all means, why is the topic actually another information from someone life involved on certain team, but I don't know the actual, what's the actual topic? I want to know.
Okay, maybe probably you are just joining us. So this issue about Mr. Jackson, Webb that died on yesterday. But let me pick up this next caller. Hello, caller. Wow, we cannot accept that. Please stay away. Hello.
Yeah, how is that?
I'm okay, and you?
I'm Carl from the City, and I call from Ghana, the New York.
Okay, make a point.
Yeah, my point is, police is still carrying on their investigation. After their investigation, if the police come up with they have a prima facie case or probable cause to charge Mr. Jackson, they will charge him for it. I think the police too, at the police level too, they can also do that investigation. And at times, sometimes when there is no evidence sufficient, sometimes they can, at the level of the police, they cannot charge you. Yeah, so since the police say going carry on investigation, they are not reaching the level of the code yet. But the police has sufficient evidence, through all the forensic and things they are doing, and they will charge Mr. Jackson for whatever crime, that is perpetrated. If it is perpetrated, they will charge him for it and follow him to court. So that's one thing.
Okay, thank you. 077649986. Let's pick up this next caller. Hello, caller.
Hello.
Yeah, your name and what do you call from?
Mr. Gray, I'm calling from Supplement.
Okay, make your point.
Yeah, you were talking about some people being arrested that were around you. Can you please call some of their names, because I have one of my friends that just got a job, driving job with that man.
Okay, so we were not updated with the names of those who were arrested, but the Liberia National Police only confirmed to us that they released one person, and then he had too many drivers, so many people who are also working with him. So we don't know exactly who what that person you are talking about, but we still waiting to see Liberia National Police to come up with their report and the name of those who were arrested by the police officers. That's the latest update we have.
Okay, because his family is very worried, but he says he left.
Okay. Thank you. 077764996. 077764996 plus 231-777-64996. Let me see from here. Let's see where I can pick up the next caller. 077764996 plus 231-777-64996 are the numbers to call us tonight. If you're watching us, keep sharing the show. Let me see where we can pick up this. Hello, caller. Hello. Please be audible.
Yeah, what I want to say is that people who were on the country, those who live with me, I think they should be able to get smart accounts. So I think that's what I want to say.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you. Let's see what we can pick up this next caller. Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, Nima, where do you come from?
I'm Emmanuel from Bobo. I'm calling from my
Think of it. Go ahead, make a point.
Yeah, what I want to know, the Jackson has children living with him in the house.
Okay, we'll respond to that. He have all of them, the members who were living in the house. We got that. We have all of people who were living in the house with them. Okay, let's see where we can pick up this next person. Hello, caller. Hello. Let's see who's there. Let's see what we can pick up. Okay. 077764996 plus 231-777-64996. Our numbers to call tonight. 077764996. Hello, caller.
My brother, I think it is the foundation of the discussion. What's the topic?
Okay, just follow. Like you just joining. Okay, so 077764996. If you just joining, you just listen, and then we are going to do recap, and then you can just go ahead from there.
So Myean.
Yeah.
Myean, so
yeah.
Tell me, what's the view in the streets? What you hear in the streets? What people are saying? What I mean, you out there? What people have been saying since this thing occurred? What people are saying?
So many libraries are now saying they want Liberia National Police to investigate into this matter, because this is something strange, and also many librarians want to know the factual information about what happened to Mrs. Jackson, because it should not be like a speculation, it should not be like an allegation or whatever it may be, but they want the investigation to be done and then come up with the fair investigation to know what exactly killed her. But many Liberians are still shocked about this situation. Many Liberians are still doubting whether Mr. Jackson was the one behind this, or if this happened just naturally. Hello, caller.
Hello.
Yeah, Nima, where do you call from?
I'm Moses C. Mali,
Calling from where?
calling from Mambaga.
Okay, make your point.
I'm following the show. I was telling that the woman of Balewa, who were only like telling somebody about pity. I know this true, something like that.
Yes. That was true. We saw the footage. We saw everything. Yes. So to confirm that was true. And then she prior to her death, she sent that footage and video to her friend in South Africa. It was a friend who tipped the Liberia National Police with all of the information and other family members out of Liberia and also in Liberia who tipped her with this information.
I'm asking this question for if Bruce can be honest, the woman, she was tortured, something that torturing him.
That's why the Liberia National Police wants to investigate to know whether that act was done by someone or if she felt, because the issue here right now is Mr. Jackson is saying that his wife fell off in the house, and he was not there, but rather he was at OKFM, and then when he later called, because both of them had the time to go for a wedding party, so he later called the cook that they should be able to check in the room to know how she coming on. So Liberians are now concerned to see if you calling someone else to check in the room to see how your wife coming on. How did you leave your wife before going out? How did you left her home before going out? So people are still doubting if you left your wife okay. Why is it that you kept calling back and forth to know how is she coming on? Why not you call her? So this is something that too many speculations are going about in this matter. So let me bring on Mr. Sinton Jackson. Jackson, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, and I'm happy to be back on the show again. Tomalin, how you doing, my brother?
Mr. Sita, man, good to see you, brother. How's the family doing, man?
Well, we are all doing fine. You know, when I'm not on the show, that means to say I'm very busy.
I know.
Yeah, but I'm happy to be here, and you know, and to listen to the conversation, to add my voice to the current situation in Liberia.
Yeah, let me interrupt. People have been asking, because you somebody who people follow and listen to. Since this incident, people have not heard from you. At least, what's your take on the whole incident?
The incident regarding Sam Jackson.
Ben Jackson's wife, and then he being involved by the police and everything.
You know, when let's say a man and a woman, right? A married couple.
Yeah.
Or when you live in a household, whenever somebody in that household is deceased under serious circumstances, the first individuals that law enforcement contact are the relatives of that person and that person lives in the household. So the fact that the police invited Mr. Sam Jackson is not anything new.
Yeah.
It is normal criminal investigation practice. But what I am kind of baffled by is the way Mr. Jackson conducted himself, calling the police, Gestapo. Police went to a house and going into the press to make all of these statements. Remember, when you have a major criminal investigation and you are a person, you have become a person of interest based on your proximity to the deceased person, right?
Yeah.
Any statement you make can be held against you.
Yeah.
So I think the first thing Mr. Jackson should have done when it was made known that his wife was deceased under suspicious circumstances, get law enforcement involved. You understand? And then if you know very well that you will be contacted to make any further comment, you try to seek, maybe if you have your lawyer, you get your lawyer for your lawyer, to brief you on what to say and what not to say, because everything you say can be used against you.
Yeah.
But the way Mr. Jackson conducted himself, I think, and I think there are some underlying issues that he knows that he does not want to tell the public, and his venting, I kind of think that is almost like a cover up, that there is something that is hidden, and he's using the public to buy some kind of a sympathy. And I may be wrong on this, but if your wife dies, you say you left her home, and you begin to call her and she was not picking up your call, and then you call based on the story that is in the public domain. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You called one of the aides in the house, and the aide said, "Oh, she's in the room sleeping." And you understand?
Yeah.
And then you come back when you meet up with blood laceration on her body and all that stuff. You call the police. The police come. The police have to do a forensic investigation. They have to call to that house. The fact that she died under that circumstances, that particular house is a crime scene. So now to go on in the public and start saying, "Oh, the police director sent a Gestapo and all of these things," I think that it was wrong, and I think I'm not going to prejudge that Mr. Jackson is guilty. Let the investigation play out, but I think his conduct surrounding the after it was known that his wife has died, I think that conduct speaks volume.
Yeah, Mr. Jackson. Yeah, but if you first of all, why would Kehleboe say this? And he knows that somebody is not guilty until you are proven guilty in the court of.
That's our jurisprudence.
Yeah, so I don't know why would he learn man, Kehleboe, educated man who have no reason to sit on his tutorship because he's a genius. Why would he say the man is guilty already? Kehleboe, I'm disappointed in your comment. But anyway, Mr. Seaton, but the thing is this though. For instance, make your example, right? The understanding, the police went today to the house, the alleged crime scene, and nothing is there. According to what I learned, everything was wiped out. So the police too, they should have yesterday gotten the warrant and immediately moved into the house. But if you give 24 hours, anything can happen. Okay, but now there are others who are saying the pictures that people are showing in the public, they want to know the date of these pictures, when were taken, and so forth. Now, to your point, if you notice today, Mr. Jackson was a little bit calm, because I thought yesterday what he would have done. He was calm today when the press were asking him. He kept saying he referred to his lawyer. Because, like Dick said, he should have gotten his lawyer first of all, and he remained silent until his lawyer and speak to your lawyer. But he was on a Facebook just posting, And I don't know whether it will hurt him in a case. I don't know. But we'll wait to see what will happen. But today he was much calmer today. Let's get they can book I don't know. He said I have the right to opinion on Donald Trump and conclude that all immigrants are criminal. I know I'm not criminal. Yeah, but so you notice today he was a little bit, he was calm. He didn't talk, he wasn't like yesterday. I don't know whether or because of his wife death and he was not to himself, but I thought the family members who were around him, they should have tried to get, at one point in time, former Chairman Malu had to take him from the press and say the man is disturbed. Let him go sit down. You'll stop, and so forth. But I don't know. But today he was much calmer and he was referring to his lawyer all the time, referring to his lawyer. So I don't know what will happen, but
I think that's the first thing he should have done yesterday when he got to know that his wife was dead. That was the first thing he should have done, and he did not do that. And apparently, and as I stated, that's why when you commit a crime, when the police arrest you, the first thing they can say, you have the right to remain silent under our jurisprudence, because anything you say can be used against you in the court of law.
Yes.
So, Mr. Jackson, well-learned economist, knows about Liberia jurisprudence, knows about the American jurisprudence. He went to school here, he lived here, he knows all of the legal ramifications. And the way he conducted himself yesterday, I think it will hurt him a whole lot. And that creates a suspicion that he must know something about his wife's demise. It creates a suspicion. I'm not saying that, but it creates a suspicion because look, Tomalin, you and a woman live together for more than 5, 6, 7 years. If something happens to that woman, the first thing that will happen to you is you will be dejected.
Oh yeah.
You will go into a mood of sorrow.
Yes.
You understand that?
Yeah.
But Mr. Jackson did not portray that yesterday.
No.
He did not portray that at all.
Yeah, and people have like he had the fufu in front of him, and I mean you can eat, but I don't think you should make it public, publicize it.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Look, this matter that there was no need to create a spectacle. Your wife has died. What else she has died, and people see blood around her. There was some kind of a blunt force trauma that caused her death. I'm not a pathologist, but the fact that she had blood in her eyes, she had blood stain on where she was laying down, there was some kind of a blunt force. So now, with all of these things, you take it, you put it in the public domain, and you are making all of these statements to the press, and you are calling the police a Gestapo. There was nothing, they were not called for. It was uncalled for, and I think if anything happens, Mr. Jackson calls this on himself. Let's be honest. When these kind of things happen, you lay low, you allow the investigation to take its course. That's what you do. You lay low. You may have your opinion, but you lay low because you are not a forensic expert. You are not a law enforcement expert. You yourself want to find out what happens to your wife. And if you wonder what happened to your wife, you're supposed to cooperate with the police to find out exactly what happened to your wife. But the way he conducted himself, and apparently maybe because I'm sure that he was advised by his lawyers and some other family members, that's why he was calm today.
Yes, I'm sure the lawyers told him, say, just be silent, stop posting, and so forth. But let me ask a question, Mr. Seaton. Some folks believe that if his ex-wives comes up and two things, if they come and say good things about him, that he's not a violent person, he's not someone who engages in domestic violence, they believe that will help him, help his case. some other people say that if they come and say that he's somebody who have engaged in such a thing, it will hurt his case. What your take on it?
Here's the first question that needs to be answered. What causes wife death? That's the first question. Whether he was non-violent in the past or he was violent in the past, that question, for me, that question is not relevant right now. The question that we need to answer is, what causes wife death? Does a wife have underlying health condition? You understand?
Okay.
Those conditions that might likely lead to her sudden death. We don't know. You understand? And from what I see in the public domain, he and his wife were out these few days. They were posting a lot of pictures. She was looking vibrant. She was looking happy. She didn't show any sign of being disturbed emotionally. All of a sudden, she dies.
Yeah.
Whoa. Now you need to ask yourself, what happened? There must be something that caused her death. We don't know. Only the investigation is going to tell us what really happened. You understand? So the fact that we don't know and she died under this kind of circumstance, it creates a lot of room for question. And I think the first person who needs to answer some question regarding what happened to Mrs. Jackson is Mr. Jackson himself, the aides that are living in the house, that are working in the house. These are the people that police will try to investigate to find out what really happened. Then they become to talk to neighbors, because obviously Liberia is a country where when something is happening in a household, other people around knows what is happening in that household.
Somebody was telling me earlier that the two people, the cook and the other person they took at the police station yesterday, they might have given some damaging revelations to the police, and that could be used as evidence to charge Mr. Jackson. You think the testimony to the police, or you think it will hurt Mr. Jackson if it was damaging?
It depends what kind of testimony they give. And I want to believe, I don't think those individuals that work in Mr. Jackson's house will make any false statement on an oath. I don't think that. They're not going to make any false statement on an oath. And there may be others who may think that this is some kind of a political issue, but this should not be looked at as a political issue. This is the life of somebody that was taken from us mysteriously, and so that the truth needs to come out. The truth needs to come out, and I think that 9 times out of 10, when these kind of things happen, people that are closer to the deceased always provide factual information to law enforcement.
Yeah, but you jump over politics, and what I've seen in the last 24 hours, I've seen others I mean, if you Google now on the word seizure, I think they have gotten more than millions of hits already, because people have been sending me a lot of pictures about seizures and so forth in my inbox, that this seizure person can look, their eyes can be bloody, they can have this kind, and I'm getting this information from some nurses, some people who are, I mean, so they tell me, say, well, they are trying to say that whoever marked the pictures, the graphic pictures that are being parading in the social media, it all maybe it came from her seizure. Now, so I don't know. Mr. Jackson said he had the medical records of his wife and so forth. I don't know whether that would help the case to say this woman be having series of medical situations in her life, and so we don't know. And number two, I know that there are some other friends, mutual friends of the couple, who have been like, I watched a clip today where a lady said, the late Tony used to borrow hair from her, and Tony showed her the marks on her and said, "Oh, my husband did this to me," and so forth. Another guy, Rufus Berry, I'm sure you know him. He wrote a very long stuff today and said that he being aware of it. And he had confronted the Jackson by it before, and Tony have always shown him the marks. But that's a different topic. But for what he wrote, people are saying, but then you help to field Tony, because if you are aware of these things, and not one, not twice, you should have brought it to the attention of somebody to try to put it to a stop. But you only coming up to say this now is a problem. But with all of what I just said, all these things we're hearing, the pictures, people are saying seizure. I mean, I know you're not a lawyer, but how do you think this will be?
First and foremost, if it is documented that this woman has a history of seizure, that it is well documented, that will also play out in the investigation. You understand? But here's the problem. She has a seizure. She was in the house with other occupants. She alone was not in the house. You understand? So if she was having a seizure, people in the house are going to know that she's having a seizure.
Yeah.
And you understand?
So that means that the witnesses they took yesterday, they're gonna also
they will be able to confirm whether it was seizure. You understand? And now, if it is seizure, then the next question that will be that needs to be answered: when somebody suffers seizure, right? What can lead to their death? Because 9 times out of 10, there's a pattern. And you understand?
Yeah.
Does a blunt force is part of that pattern? Police will look at all of that. Now, another issue here is the issue of domestic violence. A lot of our people, they don't like to report domestic violence. Domestic violence is not a good thing. That is the reason why when you are in a relationship, an abusive relationship, either you need to get out or you need to talk to people regarding what is happening to you. And if you confide in people, those people also needs to let. And I don't know whether the national police has a unit for domestic violence, or we have the Ministry of Health. I'm not the Ministry of Health, but the General Ministry. Whether they have a Department of Domestic Violence. You understand?
Yeah.
Liberia needs to open a domestic violence hotline where people report domestic violence and they look at the credibility, because we have to be very careful here. You understand? Somebody may call and say, "Oh, my husband beat me when he fight the husband didn't beat, or maybe she married with a man." You understand? So you got to look at the veracity of that claim and be able to investigate it and see whether indeed that claim is real. So those people that are coming out now that says that, well, Tony confided in them about being abused and they said nothing. They didn't tell nobody else. It was never reported, and they are now coming out to talk about it. I think they feel Tony, if indeed it is true.
That's true. But somebody was saying that they should be investigated too, because it didn't fail. I know in human service they got something what they call mandatory.
You are mandatory reporter of domestic abuse.
Yeah.
When you in human service, when you in healthcare, when you are in the area of education, all of us, as a teacher, I'm a mandatory reporter of domestic abuse. And you know, say when I see it, when I know that some abuse is happening, I have to report it. But in Liberia, we don't have that kind of system. You see, that's the difference. In the United States, we have that system. In Liberia, we don't have. That's why the Ministry of Gender and Women and their Gender needs to start thinking about the idea of an establishing an office for domestic violence, so that that office can work with law enforcement to be able to address some of these issues before it becomes something that we are seeing today with respect to this allegation of domestic violence against Mr. Jackson.
That's true. So yeah, so but we try. So I mean, so but tomorrow I was to bring you up to speed. I was informed that tomorrow he's there tonight at the police station. He has not been arrested, not charged. But now they are elevated his status now from person of interest to suspect, and he's at the police station tonight. But then tomorrow is a holiday in Liberia, and Monday the holiday will be observed. So I don't know whether the police playing the usual tactics that you have 48 hours to formally charge someone. So perhaps they want to do it Monday evening or Tuesday morning, so they can have if they do it Monday, they'll have Tuesday, Wednesday to charge him. If they do it Tuesday, they're gonna have Wednesday, Thursday to charge him. So we know what this is why they're playing. We don't know, but that's the start of the case. But I'm also informed that tomorrow there'll be an autopsy performed on the body. And today, when the police visited the crime scene, they found that everything was wiped out.
And that is another issue. Now, that is another issue. If Mr. Jackson claimed to be innocent, as he is claiming, why you wipe out the crime scene? That's a crime in itself. You know that, eh? That's a crime in itself.
No, but he said his own testimony. He said he met his wife in a pool of blood. So yeah, so if they went there, they didn't see the pool of blood. Then because
that's a crime in itself.
Yeah.
Then he tampered with a crime scene. So what is he trying to do? If that actually is true, then what is he trying to do here? He's trying to erase evidence. You understand that?
Yeah.
You can't tamper with a crime scene. You can't tamper with a crime. As a matter of fact, when they found the body, Mr. Jackson shouldn't have been given an opportunity to go back into the house. That's one of the mistakes the police made.
They made a big mistake, yeah.
One of the mistakes the police, Mr. Jackson shouldn't have been allowed to go back in the house. That house should have been cornered off. Nobody else go there until the police complete their investigation, before they can release the horse back to Mr. Jackson and his family. And I think the police made a mistake right there.
Yeah, I think they made a mistake there. We should have a lawyer coming on the judge in the next few minutes to help us to help us to discuss these things. But Maya, we can still take calls. But Mr. Seaton, yeah. So, but then too, the politics involved too. That's why you think there's a time to play politics with such a thing? You think because, like, for instance, Mr. Jackson's party, the Citizen Movement for Change, issued a statement last night, and they said that he should cooperate with the police investigation. But then some people are saying he should be suspended, expelled from the party. I don't know. For me, I feel that the statement the CMC came up is sufficient, that he should cooperate, and wherever the facts lead, justice should prevail, and that they all call on the police to be impartial in investigation and transparent. I think the statement was not a bad thing.
So it was well balanced, and I did not know. So Mr. Jackson, yesterday he was with the other party, tomorrow the other day he's with the other party, now he joined to CMC. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, but again, the CMC, their statement, the issue was very measured, and I think that's the right thing. That the right thing the CMC did, to issue a statement. But about those folks who are trying to politicize
exactly
this situation, I think it is wrong.
It's wrong.
Look, it is not everything we do in Liberia we have to look at it from the lens of politics, people. It is not everything.
I agree.
Or later die under mysterious circumstances. Her husband is a person of interest. And now people are politicizing this whole thing, trying to equate it to other murder cases in the country. This is a different case. Every case is different. Why try to politicize it and link it to another case? I think that's wrong.
Yeah, but
our people need to, when these kind of things happen, everybody needs to take a step back and let the investigation take its course. Let the investigation take its course. I know a lot of us got opinion. Everybody has an opinion, but let the investigation take its course. And I think that's the right thing to do. For the investigation to take its course, we will talk about the case. We'll look at some of the nuances, but we can't go into depth to try to say, oh, look, this case is similar to that case. It's not similar to that case. That's wrong.
Yeah, but But on the flip side, do you think it's fair? You think it's fair game for others to say that those who they're trying to bring in the ruling party, they say, well, they should be mute because the case involving the former the chairperson of Liberian of LTA, Jerome Gayman. They're saying that this case is also similar to that, perhaps, where they actually were accused of witnessing, or perhaps witnessing a murder of her relative, but then she was let go. So people are saying that while up to now the Shalom Musu case have just been, and she promised that she was going to ensure that justice was served, but she has a permanent ban on the case. So those who are talking, the others should be quiet, because Gloria Scott is right there with them. She witnessed a murder, alleged witnessed a murder of a relative, but yet and still she was released. The Supreme Court released her, and then the president appointed her. So I mean, is there any correlation?
Well, what I would say, I'm not a lawyer, but I don't think these two cases are the same. Okay. They are two different cases, and everybody had to look at these two cases from a different perspective. You can say because Madam Gloria Musu was accused of murder, and she was eventually not found guilty. So that means to say that Mr. Sam Jackson, who is now is a person of interest in the death of his wife, should not be found guilty. The investigation has to take its course, and the law has to take its course. Whatever the law says, that what should be followed. Let me throw you back. Remember when we all lived in the United States when George Zimmerman killed Trayvon Martin?
Trayvon Martin, yeah.
Everybody in America said that George Zimmerman was guilty, right?
Yes.
What happened? He was acquitted.
Acquitted.
So every case is different. You can just say because Gloria Musu was acquitted of a crime, so that means to say now Mr. Sam Jackson should also be acquitted of a crime, even though he has not been charged, but now he should be acquitted. You see, so people are quick to make judgment, and that's what I've said previously. Look, everybody needs to step back, take a deep breath, let the process play out, let the investigation continue, and let the police come up with its findings. If Mr. Jackson is accused and he is charged, he goes to court, and the court of competent jurisdiction is a court of competent jurisdiction in Liberia. Find him not guilty, so be it. If that court finds him guilty, so be it. So we should stop politicizing this thing. Say, oh, it happened on CDC, United Party for her, and all kinds of stuff. This CDC, United Party thing, Liberia needs to get away with it. It's not helping this country.
So what's the talk? People are saying also that the pictures that was now. I asked somebody just now. They're accusing the police of, which I don't think the police will do it. I don't want to believe the police did that. The graphic pictures of late Tony that have been all on social media. They're accusing the police of spread of the one that sending the pictures around. And that and I don't know. I don't want to believe the police will do that. It's unprofessional.
And again, in Liberia, we don't have privacy law.
No.
We don't have privacy law. And I think it was wrong. It was wrong for people to go and take pictures and put it on social media. And I think, look, the government or the police need to set some boundaries. You understand?
Yeah.
People need to respect people's privacy in our country. People need to respect people's privacy. If somebody dies, even accident happen, people take picture and put it on social media. That's wrong. It is none of your business to go and take picture and put on social media. Look, the government there are a lot of things the government needs to do to try to protect people's privacy. And I think one of those things is, look, to ensure that, look, where we know that people want to report, you want people to know what is happening, but there are certain things you cannot put out there. And you understand?
Yeah.
And it happens to, you know him, our good friend, the late Nagbe. Nagbe died. He was in the hospital. Somebody took a picture and put it on social media.
Wow.
You understand? He was laying down on the bed on the stretcher. They took a picture and put it on social media. His own relative, from what I heard, did that. That was wrong. We can't continue this trend. People need to respect people's privacy. And I dare hope that, look, I'll be honest with you, Timothy, these are the little things that our lawmakers need to tackle in our country rather than fighting over paycheck. I'm telling you, these are the little things.
I agree.
That they need to tackle in our country rather than fighting over paycheck. We have a country where nobody has privacy. Even the very lawmaker, if something happens, people go and take a picture and put it on social media. Will he feel happy about it? No. So it starts from there. You are representing the people and you see all the things are happening. You need to take corrective measures. That's why they are there, to help protect our people. And that's not being done. And it's sad.
But Mr. Seaton, it brings me to the point where this should be a learning experience for people, for both men. Some people feel that only the females can be victim of domestic violence, but the males, I know that some men males who know who the women can beat them up.
Yep.
Yeah. So and because of the shame to talk about it, they won't be embarrassed. But people should understand there should be a learning experience where if you are in a relationship or in a marriage, and if it's abusive, because I tell you this, let me talk about my nephew, right? I lost a nephew in this country a few years ago, a couple of years ago, and my nephew, he was married to this Haitian person, but apparently she has been, each time they have some quarrel, she will attack him, she will hit him, maybe stab him or so, but apparently it didn't go out. So this time around, she stabbed him. And she was afraid because apparently they were serious, but she was afraid that my nephew was bleeding profusely. By the time it was getting serious, that he would perhaps lost his conscious, she started to call the neighbor to help, and that's how come. By the time they could come and take him to the hospital, he was already dead. But when she stabbed him, had she called 911 right away to say my husband or my fiancé is in this situation, I'm sure they would have saved his life. So I say this to say that there are people who in marriages, in relationships, that are abusive. but they cover it up. They don't want to see the husband or the wife to get in trouble, to get in problem with the law. But I mean, I just want to use this occasion to say, look, I don't think they should do that. If the person having that problem of hitting on you, you have a pastor, go to your pastor. Person got a best friend, talk to them. Those who are, if you're married, those who are involved in your marriage, who are your groomsmen or the maid, those who took part in the wedding, or somebody, go to them for to tell them, say, look, my husband or my wife got this problem. She's always attacking me. He always hitting on me. But to keep it, to suppress it until one day it gets out of hand, then it leads to this. I think it's a problem, and we should be able to speak out on these things in both terms, and give awareness about it. That as a whole, it's just not a good thing to put a hands on people. What are you, man or woman? I mean, there's other way to fix it, but to put your hands on people. And I see people who, and mind you, since this incident occurred, Mr. Sita, I've been getting information that several prominent men in society are engaged in such a thing. They call about 5 of their names to me. I said, wow. I said, yes. So, and some of the one of the ladies said, I used to go out with that guy, Tomalin, this particular person. The person loves to beat people. He will beat you. Once he found out he suspects you of that you are cheating on him, he suspects and just lie, or he's so jealous, he will beat on you. He will beat on you. But I said, and what came out of it? So it's an occasion for people to really step up and say, look, take your hands off people. What are you, the woman or the man? Stop hitting people. I don't know your take on it.
And that is the reason why I stated earlier, the Ministry of Gender needs to establish an office of domestic violence. Because while it is true that some men suffer domestic violence, the vast majority of the people that suffer domestic violence are women. And most of the people that are killed from domestic violence are killed by their partner.
Yeah.
The statistics are there. So the Ministry of Gender, even the police, has to establish a domestic violence unit to work in collaboration with the ministry and with the gender ministry. And then the gender ministry try to develop some kind of a public awareness campaign to inform our people. Yes, I understand. There are some men who are beating on women in Liberia, and the women stay in this relationship all because of poverty. A lot of the women, they can't fend for themselves. These men are the breadwinners, and they have children. So they say they will stay in the relationship because when they go, they don't know whether they will survive. You understand? And so all of these things need to be taken into account so that we can educate our people. And here, you don't have to suffer the abuse. You don't have to suffer. And to our friends, those that are in government that are men, my man, if you get a girlfriend, or even if you marry and you marry, you get a girlfriend. If you marry and you have a girlfriend and that girlfriend is cheating on you, let her go.
You know, I was talking to a sister today.
Let her go. You will stay for another person. Say you want to have 20 wives, you will stay for another person. What is the point?
I was talking to a sister today, and she said, Tomalin, different from you. Some of our friends can really make the men into, because they will say things to the men that, and they will say just to piss him off. They will say things to him to piss him off, and he will just lose his school. He loses his school right away and want to be violent. And like I'll tell him, I say, look, on Facebook, people in my time women have insulted us on Facebook. They insulted us like crazy, but when you insulted me, I don't respond to you. And in fact, that other women can fight for me. Other sisters of mine on Facebook will take my trouble. You know, like recently this lady that got her talk show on Charlotte, right? She had one near her show, and people were calling me. I said, "Oh," and only a few women were fighting, telling us, "Oh, Leave the children alone. The children don't bother you.
And she's another one.
Leave them alone, you know, and because I will respond to her. No, I don't respond to her. For what?
Yeah.
No, she called me. She called me on the phone. She said, why you guys not talking about Richard Kuhn and Mandela Ben? I said, no, what business that two adults. She said, oh no, y'all got to talk about it. Then she started saying, she had to provoke us to respond, but I didn't. And that, you see how it died? If I responded to it and go and say I would, no, but when you do that, then that's what they want to see happen. You know,
and you know, those are us that are been in the media situation, in the media business for a long time. And this is just I'm just speculating.
Yeah.
What is her interest in Richard Kuhn and Mandela Copper business? What interest she has in it?
What interest they have to the Liberian people?
What interest? Now, here's the thing. It is possible that she has gotten some kind of a cut, and you understand, and try to use her influence so that people can continue to talk about this thing. And in the media, you don't allow people to use you for them to get their aim accomplished. You understand? As long as it's not in the public interest, you don't go after it. Everything we discuss has to be in the interest of the public.
Yes.
You know, so that's the situation. Again, you know, our sisters, you know, everybody got to live in a peaceful situation. If you figure out that you are in an abusive relationship, my sister, get out.
The sister said, one thing I know myself, you touch me once, you will not touch me twice and walk away free. I don't know. She said,
so get in trouble.
You not touch me twice, you know. Yeah. But you heard, I think there was a situation in New York a couple of years ago. This guy, I think this guy apparently was molesting this girl a lot. And she bit his genitals, I think. Yeah, wow. She was arrested. Yeah, it was like two Liberian guy. And she bit his genitals. Apparently she had been molesting this girl for years. And they said this time around will not let it happen. And she bit it, took it out. You know. I mean, these are things that can happen, but people should learn from these things that you shouldn't let people to come and just put hands on you. I don't care how much you love the person. If you love, and like, I love what Modal wrote. He wrote something, and I love what he wrote. He wrote something. I love what he wrote. Modal wrote something. Yeah. He wrote something. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's okay. Let me see. I love what he wrote. He said, yeah. He said, yeah, he said something. He said, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he said if you love someone, you'll never touch the person.
That's true.
Yeah, he said disagreements are a natural part of any relationship. Couples will argue and have differences, but there is a clear line that must never be crossed. You don't hate or damage anything you appreciate, let alone your spouse or people you claim to love. I also hear men say that they beat on the wife to show superiority and seniority. To show who is the man, sorry. The strength of a husband is defined by self-control, patience, nurturing, and love, not by aggression or physical superiority. You know, I believe it's true. You know, I know some people will invest in a woman, put a lot of money into the woman. You build a house for her, buy a car, do everything for her. Then when you're not around, the woman's are cheating on you, and you find out one of your own buddy, then you get outraged. Yeah, what? And then you say, "My hard money I went for the one to my money and gonna spend on this guy." Then you get mad. But I tell you, it wasn't meant to be. Walk away, leave it. Leave with conscience.
That's material things.
Yeah, leave with conscience.
That's material things. If you spend money on a woman and you find out that the woman is cheating on you, let her go. That's not the end of the world. You don't even know that maybe you will find somebody far better off than that woman.
I was in Liberia, Mr. Sito, and this prominent, he not died, prominent government official. The guy, one of my buddy is here too now. Apparently, this guy was married though, but he was going with this girl, and my buddy was going or dating the girl too. And somebody gave him the pinch. He found him, man. That guy, he beat that girl, took the girl hard, they didn't got attachment. Took it, man. Took the girl attachment from her hair, everything. Took it out. I mean, yes, but man, you married, but because some another PK helping you on his side. So he said, you bring the apartment for the guarantee, but all you do, mama, say you can't, you won't do my one, I'll leave you a young boy go. Or you taking the girl hair, taking it all. I said, wow.
By him doing all of that, will it stop that girl from loving to that gentleman that she was loving to? No. In fact, sir, his action solidified the girl and that gentleman relationship. Maybe that girl was a little bit scared because of him, but the fact that he beat her and disgraced her, she would say, but what is the point? They may already beat me and disgrace me for them my boyfriend here. Let me stick to my boyfriend. And you said it right, my man. You spend money on a woman from the Liberian context. You spend money on a woman, and the woman is going over different gentlemen. Let her go. Let her conscience beat her. You know, a lot of our people don't understand that. Why put yourself in trouble? And I like what Moda said. If you love something, you can never harm it. I love what he said. If you love something, you can never harm it. You will always protect it. That was a very good statement from him.
Of course. So men that beat women, I think they are. I call them. I think they are. I don't respect them. I don't respect them. I respect them all. I think it's. But I pray that this case will come to will end the. I mean, I just pray that the police they already messed. The first thing they did, the scene of the where Mr. Jackson found his wife, that place should have been secure. When they called down at the hospital, they should immediately go to the house right away and secure that place. And
I think Gregory Kromah he missed the ball right there, and and you see these little things can cloud investigation. And you understand? I know the police have some good criminal investigators. You understand? But the fact that the crime scene has been erased, it speaks volume. I don't know whether the police, when they went there, whether they took pictures or the video recorded the crime scene. You understand?
Myean was there today. Myean took pictures?
The police now.
The police has some guys who were doing footage for them while they were on the scene. But then Mr. Jackson was also recording yesterday. And they also carried some the forensic team carried their cameras, and then they did a footage carried for the investigation.
Okay. Maybe the police might have told him, say, well, all of the evidence, we have it, so you can clear the scene. But everything Mr. Jackson did in our house.
We took some water and other materials from the house.
Okay.
They have gloves on?
Yeah, they have gloves.
Okay. I mean, look, even though we are Liberia a third world country, but we have some good criminal investigators in Liberia.
Oh yeah, they got good.
We have some good criminal investigators.
The guy who had the police investigation, the
criminal investigation unit.
That's Myean friend. You're having an FBI academy here.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, he's somebody who that's why when the issue came about Brian McGill, people put sentiment into it. And I'm one of those who was saying, if the police don't have no evidence on this man, why must you're forcing him to arrest the man? But people were saying, oh, I mean, and at the end of the day, the man was clear because everything he said about him not corroborated.
And that is the problem with our country. We quick to jump to conclusion. Everybody wants to be a police officer. They want to be lawyer. They want to be journalist. They want to, at the same time, it is wrong. Let investigation plays out. Start jumping to conclusion. I know you got your opinion, but let the investigation play out. Like those of us that are in the United States, people have opinion on the issue, but they always wait for the investigation to take place.
It's sad. Like recently, the issue involving the LSCC with the cases, right? I mean, if LSCC, that the integrity institution comes on and say that this person is clear, I mean,
people
you
question
cannot
that.
answer the result of it, but what do you do? I say Justice Minister is asking now for the evidence, to go after the people. Do what you got to do. You see, Justice Minister, when the GSC audited the Senate recently and came out with the findings, then he subpoenaed. Then he said, "Oh no, we withdraw. We take it back." And Mr. Gayman, but Mr. Seaton, I've come to understanding that I have no confidence in the Justice Minister of Liberia right now. I have no confidence in him. I thought he was somebody I respected because of he came on the tutelage of Councillor Bromsky. But honestly, the way he has conducted himself in that position, I just don't have no confidence in him. I'm disappointed in him, especially when he interpreted the Supreme Court ruling, and then it brought a lot of confusion. And then with the present cases that are ongoing, I don't know, but I don't have no confidence in that guy. I don't know.
You know, I'll be honest with you. You see, Liberia is a peculiar country. You may be well-intentioned when you take a position in Liberia, but because of the peculiar nature of that country, sometimes you make decisions and then you sway away from your conviction.
Yes.
I think that is what is happening. You understand? That is what is happening. Because, again, everything in Liberia, every decision that is made in Liberia is based on politics. It's not based on the facts. That's the problem with the country. That's the reason why you see sometimes the Justice Minister makes decisions that are controversial.
Yes.
Because those decisions are not based on the fact and the law. They are based on what? Public sentiments, politics. Take, for example, Councillor Emmanuel Zo, Alexander Zo, chairman of the LSCC. The issue of Alexander Zo. Sorry, Alexandra.
Yeah, yeah.
Or Alexandra Zo.
Yeah, Alexandra,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, now, Councillor Zo, the issue of statement saying that Mr. Nagbe was clear of the payroll pardoning allegation, right?
Yeah.
People question the rationale for that decision.
Yeah.
Then the LSCC came back and tried to issue a statement saying that we did not clear Nathaniel Nagbe. The issue a statement, and you understand? So what did they do? They created more question than answer. Look, as an integrated institution, you just don't go out there and make statement, because when you make a statement, it has serious ramifications. People's lives depend on it.
Yeah.
People's lives depend on those kind of statements. So what you do here is you try to be very meticulous to conduct your investigation. You make sure you cross all your I's. You cross all your T's, you dot all your I's. So that when you issue a report, that report should not be subject to more questions. And that's what the LSCC did. You see? That's what the LSCC did, and that was wrong. Yeah. And that's a lot of, our Liberian officials, they keep making this mistake over and over. You can base decision that you make on public sentiment, on politics. Yeah, I know there are limited jobs in Liberia. Everybody wants to maintain a job. But guess what? If you lose your job, That's not the end of your life.
Yeah.
That's not the end. You will still find job if you are qualified. So people must work in the interest of Liberia, not in the interest of some kind of a political boss or some kind of a political party.
Mr. Seaton, somebody just asked me. They say that Jackson Seaton is a veteran Liberian journalist, former president of AJA.
No, I was never president of AJA. I was president of the Delaware Valley chapter of AJA.
Okay, yeah. So, but tell me, what's your take on these the journalists of today in Liberia? You know, they are journalists, because I remember during your time, you guys were different. I won't lie. Inquirer newspaper, news newspaper. In fact, honestly, when I was growing up, I wanted to be a journalist. I used to do the high school special. Yeah, we used to go on Thursday to LBS, and Aaron Colley then they will do our recording, then play Saturday morning. I wanted the high school special reporter. Where I met Moses Senny from. He would come from and do it for BWR and so forth. But in fact, but when this guy died, when Charles Bayon died, I was done. When they killed Charles Bayon, my late father said, "You still want to be journalist?" I said, "Nah." You can kill journalists, like, bro, I can't be journalist. Yeah, but it's a profession that people I used to respect, and I still respect it. We got some good journalists still, but I know the problem, and I thought Aja would have been one of those to help with that problem. The issue about is financial. It's a problem.
Yeah. You know what is happening in Liberia? The journalists in Liberia, they are challenged.
Yeah.
They are underpaid. They are underfunded. They don't have the resources to do their work. And because of that, they can be easily bored. We have had a discussion several times. What we did at the level of AJA, we have been advocating for press freedom, freedom of expression, and we have also tried to train some Liberian journalists.
Okay.
You understand? But because of the financial challenge that journalists in Liberia are facing, they sometimes bury their ethics. I'll give you an example. You're a journalist. You're in Liberia today. You come across a serious scoop.
Yeah.
You hit that scoop, and it leads you to a high-ranking official in government.
Yeah.
And the high-ranking official knows very well that when you publish, it's going to bring his whole reputation, his whole career down the drain. You left your house, maybe you get your late girlfriend, you get your late son, the picking going to school, you told your girlfriend, say, I'm going to go hustle. And you understand?
Yeah.
And then you go to the government official invite you to his house. He goes there. He takes $10,000 US and put it on the table. He put it on the table.
In cash, man.
Cash.
Brand new bills.
He put it on the table. You as a journalist, you don't have not. You got no. You left your house, no food there. What will you do?
Oh man, that's when the thought that journalist was not even argue.
That's where most of our journalists, they compromise their profession. And they compromise their profession not because they want to compromise their profession. They compromise their profession because they are being underpaid, they are being underfunded. You understand? And when they let Kamara was alive, peace be to the arches, when he was president of the Press Union of Liberia, Aja had a convention here in Philadelphia, and we become to discuss the issue. Look, what can be done to empower media institutions to be able to pay their journalists, their reporters, their livable wages? Everybody in Liberia there's multiplicity of media institutions in the country. Multiplicity. Why can't some of the institutions that have the same editorial policy, why can't they merge? So that when they merge, then they will be able to provide good incentives for their reporters.
That's a good one.
But guess what? Nobody wants to do that. Because you know why? Everybody wants to be boss. And it is not only unique to the journalism profession in Liberia. Look at our political parties. When election comes, we got almost 20 political parties. And some of them know very well that they're not even going to win 1% of the vote, but yet they say they go to the National Election Commission and register. I know of a journalist back in the days, he has his own media institution, but his media institution was in a briefcase. The media institution was in a briefcase to publish newspaper. He will go from one office to another office to government official to get whatever he can get before he goes to press. I'm not going to call his name.
But so what's the difference between your days and because during your days you face the same temptation?
We face the same temptation, but what we did was we operated with our conviction. We were of the belief that look, regardless of what happened, we tell you plain blank. That for example, as I told you this story, right? They may give you $10,000 if you are ethical journalist. You will tell him, say, Chief, well, the money you gave me here, I will take it. But I will still have to publish the story. But I will publish the story with your own side of the story. I will publish the story, and then I will bring your side in. And then I will leave it with the public to be the judge. Because that's how you do it. Even though he gave you that money, it's off the record. The money he gives you is off the record. It's a brown envelope. But you still have to do your reportorial duty. You have to let the public know.
I've been telling me money now.
You have to let him know. Because that story is important. The public needs to know. It's not because here's the thing. If you don't publish it, that story will still come out anyway. And you understand? So you have to be sincere. If he wants to take his money, let him pay your money. It's simple. You want to take your money, take the money. But I have to publish this story, and I have to get your side of the story. And you leave it with the public to be the judge. But you cannot compromise your profession because of a brown envelope. You have to be ethical. So that's what we did. Look, Tomalin, when we were in the profession, many days, and those days when Mr. Taylor was president of the Republic of Liberia, those days were some of the tense days in Liberia. Right? Some of the tense days. I remember one time, my late boss, the late Philip, we said, on Benson Street, the late Jack the Rebel. Jack the Rebel grabbed Philip. He said, you are arresting Philip right on Benson Street. The citizen king, he said, no, you're not getting the man anywhere. Tussle. Until eventually he caved in and Philip left. And I remember, because the mindset back those days was that, look, the independent reporting, the independent journalism in Liberia were against Taylor government. That was the mindset in the whole Taylor government. The newspaper, the New Democrat, the Inquirer, Star Radio, and other media institutions down the line. They did believe that the institutions were against the government. Well, accuse the government.
But I give the journalists credit, because at that time, especially those who operated during Samuel Doe time, during the military. In fact, one time, Doe used to put in jail a lot.
Of course.
Went to jail.
Of course. Yeah.
But what were you? You were practicing when Charles Boyon died. You were practicing already?
No, I was not practicing. At that time, I was just in high school, man. I was not practicing. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, that Charles Boyon one of.
No, but actually, we really used to enjoy Charles Boyon and Kwame Clement. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Those two guys. Yeah. You know. Yeah.
But your profession, but you guys got to do something about to fill that gap. Just to, even if you all take time to go do a seminar in Liberia.
There has been some. There have been some plans in the work for us to, go down there and provide some at least one week media workshop, to train many of the upcoming journalists, because that's what you see when you are journalists that uphold ethical standards.
Yeah.
You are well respected in society. When you uphold your ethical standard, when you are not easily bought, you are well respected in society. People confide in you, you will get, look, and a lot of the upcoming journalists don't know this, but when you are journalists who believe in ethical standards, you don't blackmail people. You report the facts and nothing but the facts, and you become to gain credibility. I can guarantee you will be well off. You will be well off in a sense that one day you will just say, somebody will call you, say, my man, well, Jackson, sit down. May I ask you, my man, come to my office, man, can I have lunch? Because people want to be friends with you. Because they know why you are ethical. So they will want to be friends with you. Not that they are buying you, but they want to be friends with you. And that's why the late Philip Wilson, he was one of the most ethical journalists. A lot of the time, people will think that.
So why are you calling Gina?
Because when you were practicing, he had more sense for the news. Look, let's do it this way. When you go somewhere to cover the news, when there is no news, that's news. News there, that's news. Everything you see is news. No news is news. News is news. You understand?
Yeah.
So, and he was a very, ethical guy. He tells you up front, say, hey, look, my man, this is what we see. This is what we hear. What is your side? And when we're at the inquiry, we just don't go to press. We exhaust all avenues to make sure we speak to somebody that story involved with before we go to press. If we find hard, by all means we can get to, then we include it in our story. We'll make all of the effort that we make to get to you. We put it in our story, so that when people read a story, they will not say, "Oh, this story here." The people just jump to writing the story, but they made a lot of effort to contact John Brown. See. But again, in Liberia, as I stated, most of our young upcoming journalists, they are challenged, and they need to be supported. And they are talented too. Don't get me wrong, they are talented, they are smart, but they need to be supported.
Yeah.
And sadly, we don't have a system that is supporting them. For example, many of these institutions, they cry, government run ads in the papers, government runs ads on their radio station, government don't pay them.
Yes.
It's not right. The media institution, they survive by ads, especially radio stations survive by ads and the little announcement that they make. So when you run an advertisement for the government needs to pay you. And the last time Gafon was here to the last AJA convention, you were there that night. He indicated that government was going to be paying.
But I don't know.
I don't know whether that has happened.
Yes, but I just write find out for him whether you have paid the media institutions like bro have been paid.
Yeah, this is something that I will have to take up with the current president of AJA to find out whether he has lived up to that commitment. Yeah.
Well, I promise you guys that there will be a lawyer's about to come. I just got a signal he's coming now. Anytime but for the next few minutes, we want to hear a legal perspective of this, of what's happening out there. So I expect to see him in the next few minutes. He'll be coming to join us to get legal perspective about what's unfolding in Liberia and so forth. So Myean, look out. As soon as you see the counselor, you should bring him on. He'll be coming in a moment from now. But so at least for the next few minutes, then he just help us to navigate, to unpack what's happening in Liberia the last 72 hours. And also the journalists that are reporting on these things, they should be very, very professional. They should not get involved with it, put sentiments into their duties. What I see happen. If you notice, there are times where people get mad. And one thing I give the people credit in this country, you see the Supreme Court here, now trying to cuss now, but they don't take it personal. And I know they just he just lost the case with Jerome Powell, the first chairman. So I know he pays again. But that is guardrails in this country that get democracy stronger. Yeah, but Mr. Cedar, I could come back to the St. Jackson issue. I want to hope that this matter, the whole world watching, because another government is involved now, and so African government they're involved with this case too. So watching.
It's a serious case.
Yeah, you don't want to, and then Myean, I sent a video. Myean, play that video with me, man. Play that video I sent. I think some foreign group talking about this case already. You saw it? Oh, Myean, check. I sent it to you.
You have to check your phone because I didn't see anything yet from you.
I said, thank you. Thank you.
Check.
Okay, Myean, Councillor Freeman is here. Can you bring him on?
Yes.
Good evening, Councillor Freeman. I'm sorry to bother you this on a weekend too, on a Saturday where the weather have changed. But
good evening, man.
Good evening, Councillor.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Councillor.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and
clear. Hear you.
Oh, okay.
So I wanted to just get your perspective about what's happening in the last 72 hours and how you think the process will end.
Well, I think first and foremost, we can all admit that the death of anybody is a tragic incident. And so I'd like to extend my deepest condolences to the family of the woman in question. I know that I have seen, pictures of she and Mr. Jackson on the social media, but never really paid close attention. So it's unfortunate that she has lost her life, regardless of how she died. The fact of the matter is, whenever a life is lost, that's something that we should all be concerned about. But having said that, and I tend not to speculate when it comes to how things might unfold. But I think we understand that Mr. Jackson was a person of interest. He might very well be the only suspect that they have now. I understand that sometime today he was at the police station for questioning. I'd like to see how it plays out. I think the police is doing their job. I would have liked to see it done differently from the very beginning, notwithstanding, it seems to me that they are going to take some corrective measures to make sure that the investigation is thorough. And wherever the evidence leads, that they should follow the evidence. And if prosecution is warranted, that the prosecutor has everything necessary to put up a robust prosecution of Mr. Jackson. Look, abuse and impunity in Liberia is something that concerns everybody. There are a lot of people who are victims of domestic violence in Liberia. And so I think a lot of people would like to see how this case ends up. Now, the only reason we are talking about this case is because of the stature of the people involved. Mr. Jackson, a prominent Liberian citizen, but there are too many people in Liberia, particularly women, that are victims of domestic violence. Now, and I'm not suggesting that Mr. Jackson committed murder. I think we have to wait to see what the evidence shows. Notwithstanding, if we really look at some of the pictures that have been disclosed so far, one can admit that there is evidence of some form of abuse. If you
But
really take a look,
let me stop you there, Council. But these pictures, people are saying that first of all, they did. What are these pictures are recent? When there's no date when about these pictures and so forth, and the victim's body, those marks are not on the bodies. What the picture are showing, and that's one aspect. Another thing I want to ask you, just the way to answer both. Mr. Jackson is at the police station tonight. He's been detained. But the Inspector General said that he's not. He elevated the status now from person of interest to
suspect.
And he also said that he's not on arrest. So, is that how you do it in the law? Do you keep someone there? We're not arresting the person, or this? But because what I'm looking at, tomorrow's a holiday in Liberia, and it will be observed.
You mean Monday?
The holiday is tomorrow, but it will be observed on Monday.
Okay.
So, and I don't know whether, first of all, such a case, is it billable?
Yeah, I mean, it's billable. It's a billable offense. But in terms of detention, the police, once they have reasonable suspicion that a crime has been committed, okay, that's when there's probable cause of a commission of a crime, the police can detain you within a reasonable time frame. Now, under the Liberian statute, they can do that for 72 hours, right? And if they don't have anything against you, then of course they have to release you. So the detention of Mr. Jackson now as a suspect is completely within the confines of the law. In fact, I would have expected them to detain him since yesterday, when they had reason to believe that a crime had been committed. And the reason I say yesterday is because for a crime of that nature, someone might be considered a danger to the community. Now, I know it's an isolated thing, it's a heat, something may have happened in the heat of passion between wife and husband, but for a crime of that nature, you might say the person is a danger to the community. And if you want to preserve evidence, and you want to prevent people from, cross-checking communication, detaining him on Friday when they became aware that a crime may have been committed would have been completely within, the confines of the law, as long as they detain him within the statutory time frame, such as 72 hours and no more. Now, if you charge him within that 72 hours, of course, you can then present him for an arraignment on a Monday, or in this case, if Monday is a holiday, on a Tuesday, he goes before a judge and then he takes a plea of guilty or not guilty. So I expect if he's a suspect, what's going to be happening from today up to Monday is that they're going to be investigating him. They're going to be asking him questions. I'm hoping they would have read him his rights, his procedural rights, right to counsel, right to remain silent, and things of that nature. And if the evidence shows that, he is in fact, might be culpable for something wrong to this woman, then of course he will be further detained and then put before a judge, maybe on Tuesday, if Monday is a holiday, for an arraignment, and then the process has begun.
But Mr. Sidon, you got a question?
Yeah, quick question. Counselor, don't you think that one of the reasons why Mr. Sam Jackson is currently in police custody is that maybe he's a flight risk?
Yeah, well, potentially. I mean, the issue of flight risk is always a concern, right? When someone has committed a crime, any crime for that matter, one thing that comes to the mind of investigator is whether or not that person might be available when needed, right? But there are other ways to mitigate holding person in detention. I suspect strongly it might be because they're afraid he might be a flat rate, but there's a way to mitigate that. For example, you can tell him to turn over his passport and things of that nature without having to hold him, right? So I think beyond the fact that he might be a flat risk is the fact that they want to also investigate. They want to be able to ask him some relevant questions, preliminary questions. So detaining him seems plausible because when he's in their detention, he's not a danger to the society. Okay, now you understand that Mr. Jackson, when the police were at his residence, he was making a lot of inflammatory statements, right? And I think I even overheard him saying to a gentleman, and I quote here, "This is Mr. Sully, we killed his father during the war," something to that effect. So a lot of emotion is ongoing here. So detaining him might be for his own safety, but also to preserve the integrity of the investigation because witnesses might be targeted and things of that nature. So to prevent all of that from happening, you can detain him within the statutory time frame, 72 hours and no more, unless you charge him.
Okay, another question is, Mr. George alluded to the fact that the crime scene was tampered with. That is, everything was wiped clean. What is your take on that?
Now, and that's one of the areas I have a serious concern about, right? Anybody who study criminology or a criminal defense lawyer would tell you the one important thing when it comes to criminal investigation is the preservation of evidence, including the crime scene, right? What we saw happen yesterday, I saw that the crime scene was not properly preserved. Now, I understand it was maybe late in the evening on Friday. Instead of sending a bunch of police officers to Mr. Jackson's house, I mean, that's something I thought was not really thought through properly. There was no exigency to send a whole lot of officers to his house. They could have sent a few crime scene investigators there to preserve the crime scene. But even with all of the police officers that were deployed, it didn't appear to me that any step was taken to actually preserve the crime scene. And what I mean by that, for example, you have a number of officers stationed outside, maybe in the fence. And at the same time, you have a slew of people going in and out of the house. That can contaminate a crime scene. It sort of takes away from the integrity of the crime scene. And any savvy defense lawyer would undermine the prosecution case because there was no, what we call protecting the custody of the crime scene. So what I would have loved to see the police do is preserve the crime scene, make sure that no one's going in and out, and then go and get a warrant. The same day, go and knock on the judge's house, even if it's after hour. Go and knock on the judge's house. We have reason to believe, we have probable cause that a crime may have been committed, and we need a search warrant. And then that warrant has to be, very specific in terms of what you're looking for, where you could find it. And with that warrant, now they should have gone in and then searched Mr. Jackson's house. The fact that it took almost 24 hours before they got a warrant to go back and search the house, that's problematic because there were too many people in and out of that crime scene, and that would have undermined the crime scene.
So, counsel, so with this case, I mean, I want you to give a perspective from a defense perspective and a prosecutorial
prosecution.
Yeah. So my thing is that these people are saying that this case will be very difficult to prosecute. I mean, if you are prosecuting this case, will it be difficult?
Well, first of all, I'm not a prosecutor, but having studied criminal justice and criminal law, we understand that under our criminal jurisprudence, there is a presumption of innocence. So Mr. Jackson is presumed innocent until he's proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. That burden rests with the state, with Liberia, the government, to prove his guilt. Now, before we go into the intricacies of the procedural aspect of it, I think people might be saying that it might be difficult because of this whole idea of the crime scene being contaminated. A lady died and her body was then taken to somewhere else other than where she died, and the crime scene was exposed to a lot of people. The body, look, when someone dies, there's something called rigor mortis, R-I-G-O, R-M-O-R-T-I-S. Rigor mortis takes place within 2 to 6 hours, sometimes 8 hours, depending on the body part. What rigor mortis does is the lack of oxygen flow into the body after a person becomes deceased. Normally, what pathologists tend to do is, before rigor mortis happens, you can tell the time of death. But you got to do it before rigor mortis takes place, because, I mean, no oxygen has been in the body for a number of hours now, oftentimes 2 to 6 hours. So what pathologists tend to do, or coroner investigators tend to do, and which is provided under the Liberian law, actually, what they tend to do in best practice is that you want to be able to have a doctor, a pathologist, examine that body prior to rigor mortis to determine the time frame that the person died. Now, keep in mind, Mr. Jackson says that when he came back from some program on OKFM, he met his wife lying there, and then they took her to the hospital. I think they need to verify whether she went there alive, but also they need to determine when did she die. Not just how did she die, but how long has she been died prior to him, coming to meet her. So I don't know whether that was done yet. It seems to me the time for rigor mortis, that window, we've already lost that window of 2 to 6 hours after death, because now no more oxygen is flowing in her body. Her body has been stiff for several hours now. So I think that goes to the whole idea that it might be difficult to determine A, cause of death, and B, how long she's been dead for, to see whether we can corroborate what Mr. Jackson is saying. Because Mr. Jackson is saying he took her to the hospital alive, and surgery was done, and then maybe it was post-surgery that she died and all of that. But ultimately, the defense case will be on the basis of whether or not the prosecution have met its burden of proof, which is beyond a reasonable doubt. I expect you that, for the most part, the defense will be arguing that Mr. Jackson, the record can show that Mr. Jackson took his wife to the hospital and she was alive. And when there were individuals who might be able to testify to seeing her alive and things of that nature, then ultimately the prosecution will have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Mr. Jackson is in fact culpable of murder here. Now, whether or not they can meet the burden, I think is yet to be seen, because ultimately it will depend on the facts of the case.
Yeah, you made mention of something that Mr. Jackson took his wife to the hospital. Now, the question that I have is that, don't we have ambulance services in Liberia? That an ambulance comes and somebody of such a situation happen, and you get an ambulance, to come and take whosoever is injured to a hospital, rather than putting the person in a car. And then, because normally, like those of in the United States, when those kind of things happen, you get an ambulance, the EMT comes, they take that person, they put them in the ambulance, and they become to resuscitate that person while they are on their way to the hospital. Yeah, don't you think it was not proper for him to individually just take his wife to the hospital?
No, I don't think it's fair to second guess, but I think context matters, right? Liberia is a society where you don't have the prevalence of ambulances, and even when there are ambulances available, there might be issues of gasoline, there might be the issue of it being unavailable because it's damaged. If I recall correctly, Mr. Jackson, in a post I saw, said, the 2 ambulances that were contacted were parked in the garage. In other words, he was saying clearly that he contacted ambulance and they were not available. So I don't think there's any legal requirement to transport someone who is ill in an ambulance, especially in a society like Liberia, where you have shortages of ambulances. So there's nothing out of the realm of possibility. I mean, there's nothing inherently wrong with Mr. Jackson putting his wife in his vehicle and trying to get her to a hospital. I think any reasonable person in a country such as Liberia, where you don't have an abundance of ambulances, of things of that nature, and a reasonable person would do the same thing that he did, to put his wife in a vehicle. I think most people in Liberia, frankly, when they are faced with those kinds of situations, they tend to use their private vehicle, motorbikes, and things of that nature. So I don't see that as being so much of a problem. I don't think that's even the issue. The issue is going to be ultimately whether or not there was cases of abuse, and whether or not this abuse in this particular instance led to his wife's death.
But now the police is saying that tomorrow, 12 o'clock, they will be performing an autopsy on the body. You think it's late?
No, it's never late to perform autopsy. What I was alluding to was to determine the time of death and how long she had been dead. You need, there's a certain window that rigor mortis takes place in the human body when the person died, okay? And that typically happens between 2 to 6 hours, right? It starts from the head and it goes to the body. And I'm talking about the fact that the body starts getting stiff, right?
Okay.
And when rigor mortis completely occurs in a human body after that person died, at that point, it's really difficult to determine how long the person had been dead. But in terms of autopsy, you can do autopsy at any point in time, you know. So no, the police and get a pathology to do an autopsy tomorrow to determine the cause of death. You know, can happen at any point in time. But keep in mind that autopsy is not the only means that should be a sort of employer. You have to have officers who will look at the crime scene and look at how Mr. Jackson described that his wife was there, and look at how he claimed that the body was positioned when she was encountered, because he's claiming that she may have fallen and hit her head. So all of that needs to be looked into, and then coupled with the fact that an autopsy is going to see whether or not his version is consistent with you know, what the doctors are saying in terms of how she may have died.
Mr. Jackson said he will have online medical condition, medical conditions, right? Like people are saying seizure. So you think that would help his case too, to say my wife she fell, she has a seizure, and she fell and she hit her head. You think it will help his case?
I don't. I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility for someone to fall and hit their head and then maybe collapse. And if medical attention is not brought timely, that the person might then lose their life. It's not out of the realm of possibility. That could potentially happen, right? But you have to look at it holistically. And so what I mean by that is that it seems there have been instances of abuse. You have witnesses saying that this woman may have been abused. Now, you said earlier that we don't know when the abuse may have occurred. Notwithstanding, the mere fact that there were instances of abuse raises some level of suspicion as to whether or not her death may be as a result of abuse. So yes, she may have seizure. She may have, you know, medical evidence of seizure and all of that. However, it doesn't preclude the fact that there still might be foul play here. And that's what the evidence is hopefully going to show. That's what the, you know, an autopsy is going to also show, whether or not, you know, she died as a result of seizure, or whether or not there was blunt force trauma to her head. All of that is going to be shown either to autopsy and also with you know, with the old-fashioned investigation.
So what will be the charge? If the charging, what will be the charge?
That's the thing. I'm not certain whether there are different categories of murder in Liberia, right? I do know that we have manslaughter and then we have murder. I think murder is just a one level thing in Liberia. I don't think they have second-degree murder, first-degree murder. But even if they had that, I don't see any prosecutor being able to charge here first-degree murder. Like I said, they may not even have different categories of murder in Liberia, right? So if, for example, if this was in the U.S., no savvy prosecutor is going to charge a first-degree murder. Because with first-degree murder, you have to prove premeditation, deliberation. You have to prove that intent, that he did it intentionally, okay? In some instances, you might bring what we call a depraved heart murder, but most likely, if this was in America, for example, in most states, it'll be a second-degree murder, right? Or manslaughter. Because you want to keep in mind that one way to easily lose a criminal case, is when you overcharge. Okay, if you overcharge. I don't think there are different categories of murder in Liberia. They may have manslaughter and then they have murder. So if anything, they might bring a murder charge. But they want to also be mindful not to overcharge here, right? We saw it in the Gloria Mususka case where they charged her with murder. They then got a conviction. It went up to the Supreme Court. At some point, the Supreme Court said there was not sufficient evidence to actually establish, that Mr. Scott had committed murder. So you want to be mindful when you bring in a criminal charge here. You want to be able to prove that and make sure it can be sustained if it goes on appeal. So I suspect it will be a murder charge.
Okay. So the pictures that people are getting on social media, I think it will be admissible in the court, or in all the pictures that are going around, and then who they still use as witnesses? Still witnesses.
Well, there were individuals who were in the house. I would hope by now that some of those people had been interviewed by now. The cook that he claimed he called, houseboy, the cook, the man, Mr. Rufus Berry, who said that he interacted with both Mr. Jackson and this woman, that he has firsthand knowledge of abuse. He becomes a potential witness, but you have to keep in mind that might be defense of hearsay because an out-of-court statement, things of that nature. But I won't be surprised if they were to call Mr. Berry, given that he may have first-hand knowledge, right? But also the cook from the house, the houseboy from the house, friends that she may have confided in directly, may have first-hand knowledge. They could be potential witnesses. But you got to keep in mind the defense might be raising defense such as objections, hearsay, it's an out-of-court statement being introduced to prove the truth of the matter asserted. But ultimately, it's going to be up to the judge to decide whether or not such testimony comes into admission.
And then too, they free one of the guys who they invited yesterday. Then one of them is still there. One was let go. Why you think it happened that way?
Well, I don't want to speculate as to why a potential witness is being held. Now, if a witness is not, unless you're trying to say, well, this witness is complicit in some crime, or this witness has conspired to commit crime or to obstruct some sort of justice. A witness is a witness. If they are holding the witness, then I'm sure they have reason why they're continuing to hold a witness. But I don't want to speculate as to why they let a witness go or why they're still holding a witness.
Sita?
Yeah. What do you think about Mr. Jackson venting when the police went to a house?
Look, I mean, you cannot tell someone how to mourn the loss of their loved one, but strictly from a human perspective and as a person, I'm taking off my legal hat. I personally think that was a diversion on Mr. Jackson's part. I think that was a tactics to create this whole spectacle, and I think the police themselves may have contributed to that as well. Frankly, if you have, according to him, almost 15 or so police officers stationed at his home, that can create an unnecessary spectacle. And I think we saw that being played out yesterday. So Mr. Jackson venting, I think was ill-advised. But again, I don't want to second guess what his intent was at that time. But I think it was ill-advised to be venting the way that he was doing. I think he should have been more cooperative. But then again, this is the man who is mourning the loss of his death for what it is. And so I don't want to second guess why he was doing that, but I think it was ill-advised, and I think the police may have actually played into that because you have 15 police officers stationed at someone's home with well-armed police officers. I don't think it was called for, but remains to be seen what happens, right?
But you think all these medical records that are out there, they will be used in the case? Or I see the guy I see today. I see medical records. They say it's her medical record for the U.S. I see it. Oh, you didn't use it in the case?
Yeah. It's not out of the realm of possibility. I mean, as long as those records can be authenticated.
Yeah.
Once they were authenticated, that they're in fact her medical record, and it's from a reputable source or wherever it's from, and they can authenticate that. The thing about medical record, like any evidence, you have to have someone in court who can verify that the record was kept in its regular, course of doing business. In other words, someone from the medical facility that will come in and who can help authenticate the record. Other than that, if I were Mr. Jackson's attorney, objection, there's no way we can authenticate this medical record. I expect his lawyer will be objecting to the medical record. If in fact he's introducing it, then if it served the prosecution, then it's fine. But ultimately, any record, particularly medical record that comes in, must be authenticated. You have to you have to be able to verify the source of it.
And I have a little bit of concern because those of us that lives in the United States, there's a whole issue of privacy, HIPAA law. You can't just get up and just give somebody's medical record to somebody who have no business of getting that medical record. So I'm a little bit skeptical of the medical record that is in the public domain that says that it is from the United States. There is nowhere in the United States you will just go to a hospital and say, give me John Brown medical record, and they give it to you.
Correct.
So that medical record there is not correct.
Which is why I mentioned that as long as they're able to authenticate the medical record, anything short of that, it should not be admissible.
Yeah,
from the US though. So the person
but Tomalin, here's the thing. There is nowhere in these United States that Tomalin George or Jackson Seaton can go to any hospital, or I live in the state of Delaware and I want somebody medical record in the state of Delaware, and I go to Christiana Hospital and tell them, say, look, I need John Brown medical record, and they give it to me. It is not possible.
Officer Johnson, hey, wife, so he said he got his wife medical record. You think you would use it?
Yeah, if he has it, that's a different story. You understand? If he didn't want to pull it out there in the public domain, I don't know, but I think I don't know. It could be, it is wrong for him to just get up and put his wife medical record in the public domain. It is wrong. You understand? Then what is he trying to prove?
We know that Mr. Jackson mentioned a number of times the medical history of his wife. So I don't think it's far-fetched that he may have actually introduced it into the public domain already. But whether or not he did it, it still has to be authenticated before it can be admitted into court. It's going to boil down to whether or not the prosecution believes that the medical record are in fact her medical record, and whether or not they can authenticate it. Anything short of that, I hope that, and I expect that the court is not going to accept it.
So at the end of the day, what do you think the prosecution would use to prove a reasonable doubt to find what would be their point to say, well, this is why we prove a reasonable doubt?
Beyond a reasonable doubt, yeah. So the prosecution, it is their burden to prove Mr. Johnson did in fact commit this crime that he's being accused of committing beyond a reasonable doubt. And it will be a combination of different things. It could be witness statements, the witnesses on the ground. You said they may be even holding a witness right now that they find to be a relevant witness. It will be a combination of witness statement. It will be also the medical report from the coroner office, the pathologist, that says how she died. Was it due to a fall? Was it a blunt force trauma? So it'll be a combination of all of that. I don't think no one particular evidence is going to be that super evidence. Keep in mind, a lot of time when it comes to criminal prosecution, it is very difficult in some instances for prosecutors to prove with direct evidence that a crime had been, perpetrated. Oftentimes, you see in criminal court, prosecution are using what we call the circumstantial evidence. Basically, they look at the totality of the circumstances. Okay, so no one single evidence that is so demonstrable that could be used to prove the guilt of someone in court. Oftentimes, it might be the combination of different evidence, i.e., a circumstantial evidence, to its totality could be used to prove guilt. So you're talking about the fact that he was an abusive husband. You got witnesses who can testify he was an abusive husband. He being an abusive husband in of itself doesn't mean that he committed murder. But then you take that, and then you take witnesses' statements from the house as far as what happened. And then you check it with the fact that he claimed he was out of the house when she hit her head. And then you got to look at the pathologist report. How did she really die? You can bring in the pathologist to actually testify as to the cause of death, right? So all of that is going to be what prosecution have to rely on to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt.
So and there's a case of now the hardest part will be selecting the jurors, right?
Yeah, I mean that is equally a very important part of a prosecution. In this case, a criminal prosecution. Mr. Jackson is entitled to a jury of his peers, potentially in Montserrat County. This is where the incident occurred. I understand, right? So, jury of a peer in Montserrat County. The problem I will have if I was a defense attorney of Mr. Jackson is that there's been too much publicity about this case within the last 24 hours. Just way too much publicity. I wouldn't want my client of that stature, a political pundits or analyst, whatever you want to call him, I wouldn't want him being prosecuted in a
Well, you come to the rep, the main part, he frozen.
Yeah. I wouldn't want him being prosecuted in Montserrat County. If I was a defense lawyer, I would ask and file a motion for the case to be transferred into a county that there has not been so much publicity, maybe somewhere else. County, Kakata, somewhere else other than Montserrat County, because it's just way too much publicity, whether good or bad. This case has been overly publicized and people have already formed judgment about it.
Wow.
But that's a decision for the defense to make.
But I thought the both sides would be.
Any party can file a motion to move it, but oftentimes when the defense asks for a case to be transferred over, either due to too much negative publicity, the courts tend to be more, susceptible to, granting that. Because keep in mind, the defense, there's that presumption of innocence, and you don't want to put a defendant in a situation where people have already formed opinions about a case. But it remains to be seen what happens here. But I think within the last hours or a day or two, we can all agree that almost everyone in Montserrat County now and beyond knows about this case, right?
So even if his ex-wives, if they comes on and say that he's not a violent person, he wasn't abusive, and they can testify, it will help him too. And then secondly,
it goes to character witness.
Oh, character witness.
The character witness, yes.
Yeah.
They can become character witnesses.
Okay. So you think his posts on Facebook, on social media, the utterances and the posts he's been making will affect his case too?
Not necessarily. I mean, you don't necessarily want to base the guilt of a man on the issue of murder on a mere post that, if he has said openly on social media that, I killed her and so what, that's a different thing altogether. But the mere outburst in the heat of passion doesn't in of itself suggest that he committed murder, right? I think it's too far-fetched to look at a post, in the heat of passion as suggestive of committing any crime, certainly not murder. So I don't see a situation where they're going to be extrapolating his social media posts to prove his guilt in court on a murder charge. No.
So from all you know now, you think that there's a possibility that he can come up free?
What? Hold on one second. Let me get a charger.
Yeah. Wow. This San Jackson. I mean, it will be a tough case, though, Mr. Seaton. I think there will be.
Yeah, it is a tough case. I don't know, but if so, what? Now, let me ask this question. How the police got involved?
I don't know, but I suspect the police got information that Mr. Jackson Webb died, and maybe people had suspicion as to how she died. Anybody can call police. I mean, hospitals, medical practitioners have a duty to report, right? So I wouldn't be surprised that when the body was taken to JFK, someone may have called the police because they had reason to believe that a crime may have been committed. So I don't want to speculate, but it's not uncommon to see medical practitioners, nurses, doctors, care providers. They all have a duty to report.
But I asked my police source yesterday. I said, and the police source said that Mr. Jackson was he was taking the body to the funeral home. Now, that's when they got involved. They took the body to the funeral home, and then they said, and the medical people said they should call the police because
correct.
What is this cause saw on the body. So that's how come they stopped it. But
yeah, they have a duty to report. Correct.
Yeah. So you think end of the day, I believe you think Mr. Jackson can come out of this case free.
Well, I think we should all wait. I'm not want to sort of I don't want to overly pontificate as to what might happen in terms of whether or not he's going to be found guilty or innocent. I think he's presumed innocent, right? We know that he's presumed innocent on our laws. And so we should give him that presumption of innocence and until he's proven guilty. Look, there is an old legal maxim that says it is better for the guilty to be set free than for an innocent man to be falsely accused and then imprisoned. So I want to give Mr. Jackson the benefit of the doubt that what happened here was a complete accident and that he has nothing to do with it. So, I don't want to always speculate about his guilt. If in fact the evidence leads to a conviction, I'm hoping that the Liberian government can put together a strong legal team that will ensure that this woman receives some form of justice. But in terms of whether or not he's going to be found guilty, I think it will highly depend on the evidence and whether or not the state is able to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt.
And usually, what's the length if the person is found guilty? What's the time frame of the sentencing? Is it left with the judge?
Yeah, it's up to the judge. Sometimes, in some cases, the statute clearly defines what the sentence is. Perhaps there might be some statutory guidelines in terms of sentence for murder, but there'll also be instances where judges have discretion. Judges can sometimes go a little bit over the statutory guidelines, but most of the time they remain within the statutory guidelines. In the case of murder, I'm not sure what the specific time frame is in Liberia, but that's something we will see unfold when we get to that point. Right? I think we are really far from that point. I think what we need to be talking about mostly is whether or not there's sufficient evidence. We know that he's not being held as a suspect. We know that most likely on Tuesday he might be in front of a judge for his arraignment, his initial arraignment, where they're going to advise him of his procedural rights, trial rights, you might call that, and he's going to be advised that he has the right to counsel. And I think he's already done that. He hired counsel today, so that's good for him.
Yeah, he was quiet today. I noticed that he wasn't. I think when I asked him today, he referred to his lawyer.
No, because he has counsel. The counsel have not informed him that whatever you say now might very well be used against you in the court. So therefore, it is best that you remain silent. And I think it's a good thing that he listened to his lawyers, because when things of this sort nature happen, people sometimes you say things and then you don't realize what you're saying might very well be used against you, right? So you notice that he was quiet today because he now had a chance to talk to his counsel, and counsel told him, "Listen, we should be doing the talking, not you." So, but it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Hopefully the government, does a thorough investigation. This woman, if there was foul play, she deserved to, get justice. Definitely get justice. And beyond that, for me, I would like to see a situation where there've been too many instances of abuse in Liberia. So I would like to see an instance where either through the Ministry of Justice or the Ministry of Gender, they can set up some sort of office where people can call anonymously to report abuse. Because too many people live in abusive relationship and there's no outlet where they can report it, or where someone who is aware of it can actually report it anonymously. And then, people can actually step in to make sure that person is protected, to make sure that person has available services, so that people don't feel that they are trapped in abusive relationship. Too many people back home are trapped in abusive relationship, and oftentimes we become aware of them when, tragically something of this sort happens.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. It'll be I don't know the landmark case. I don't know, but it's the first time we have such a case.
Yeah, I mean, because of the stature of Mr. Jackson and the fact that this is a foreign national, a South African lady, you should keep in mind that the South African government will be very much interested in the outcome of this case. She's a South African national, Mr. Jackson being the person that he is in Liberia. And I mean, we'll see what happens. If the police have sufficient evidence, then I'm sure that they will prosecute him, and hopefully they can get a conviction.
So on Tuesday, if he's charged, I want to ask him if he's charged on Tuesday, can he put out a bill? Can he put out a bill?
He could potentially put up a bill. Yeah, that the state would decide whether or not they want to oppose bill. And the question then becomes: is he a flat risk? Can somebody guarantee that he'll be present in court when he's needed to be in court? All of that comes into play. He can post bill. Hopefully, he might be able to get bill on his own recognizance on OR. In other words, without posting the actual bill. But it's possible that when after his initial arraignment, hopefully on Tuesday, if he's being formally charged, then he might be able to post. But look, if my cautionary tale to the Minister of Justice would be this for this case, given that there is some political undertone here, and I use the word political undertone because of the kind of person Mr. Jackson is. Yeah. And you noticed yesterday there were people saying, "Oh, the police want to, Thomas Jackson," and it became almost like a CDC and then UP stuff, right? Yes, given the political undertone here, my cautionary tale to the Minister of Justice will be to set up a grand jury, okay, prior to charging him, especially if they're not certain that there's clear evidence of probable cause. Is that you can set up a grand jury, what in Liberia may call it a super grand jury. You can set up a grand jury or a super grand jury, and the prosecutor can then present the evidence to that grand jury. This is not a jury. This is not a trial jury. It's a grand jury, right? Present it to the grand jury, and if the grand jury, grand jury proceeding is usually held secretive, the defense has no right to be there. So Mr. Jackson and his lawyers would not be there. It would just be the prosecutor, the bailiff, the grand juror of certainty, and the grand jury in Liberia, I think it's 15. And to indict, it has to be 12, but typically it's 15 grand jurors. And then the stenographer, the person that typed the grand jury, whatever is being said. But get a grand jury, they can look at the evidence and decide whether or not there's sufficient evidence to indict Mr. Jackson for murder. Because the way you do that so that you can take away the appearance of political undertone. Some might be saying, well, because he's the political person, so now they want to charge. We saw that during the Glover Musu Scott case where it became overly politicized, right? And the way to avoid that kind of stuff, even in America, when you're talking about a high-profile person, you get a grand jury, and the grand jury hear the evidence, and then they decide whether or not there's sufficient evidence to indict. And then they indict. So you take away the political aspect of it. So it's not the prosecutor being under the pressure of politicians, right? It's the grand jury that decides, look, based on what we've heard, we believe there's sufficient evidence for this man to go to trial. That's one way to do it.
Wow.
Yeah.
We really want to see what happened because
this case is interesting. And as you already stated, based on the statute of Mr. Jackson. But on many occasions in Liberia, these kind of situations happen, and they take the person to the hospital. The person dies, and there is folks don't inform the police. You understand what I'm saying? And then for Mr. Jackson, similar situation happened now. They inform the police. I don't know whether there is a standard procedure or how you report these kind of things in Liberia.
But look, I don't believe we have any what you refer to as standard procedure in Liberia, which is why I suggested that hopefully this and it should have been done maybe a long time ago, that you can set up an office within the Ministry of Justice where people can call anonymously and report instances of abuse, because too many people in the community knows about abuses, and there's no way they can, other than talking among themselves, there's no official medium by which They can call without even having to leave their name and say, listen, John Brown lives in Oro. And so person, I know that John Brown is being abused every day. I saw her with big bruises on her face yesterday. I saw him with big bruises on his face yesterday. And then investigators can come over maybe and talk to John Brown, or at least make John Brown understand that there are resources available if John Brown is being abused. We should have that kind of thing in Liberia, where people feel that they can avail themselves to the services out there. But frankly, as it stands right now, I don't believe that we have such a thing in Liberia. It never has it been, and I don't have any reason to think that they have that kind of service in Liberia. But like you said, the only reason we are talking about this case is because we're talking about a prominent Liberian citizen, Mr. Jackson, and we're talking about foreign national wife that he sort of was parading around here on social media. So, but there are too many ordinary people in the country that are subjected to the level of abuse, and in some instances, death. And no one cares and no one knows about it.
So it is a case if you are on both either side. It's a case that you can win. It's a case that you can prosecute.
I mean, it's gonna come down to the evidence, right? And look, the thing about any court case, whether criminal or civil, ultimately is about what you can prove. I don't care if the whole of Liberia has an opinion on this case. If I was a defense lawyer, I only care about what the 12 people in that jury box thinks and what I can convince them to think. So the defense strategy should be and would be to convince the jury that the prosecution has not met its burden. Now, keep in mind, in a criminal case, the defense doesn't have to prove anything. You don't have to prove anything. When it comes to the guilt or innocent, the defense doesn't have to prove anything. The defense only have to cast reasonable doubt. It is possible, just like Mr. Jackson said, the wife knocked her head. The prosecution has not provided a single evidence to refute that possibility. So it's going to be up to the prosecutor to, A, on the one hand, provide all of the necessary evidence to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. And on the other hand, the defense needs to be able to cast some sort of doubt in that. So, I mean, I can tell you whether, I hadn't seen the charge sheet yet. I have not read the charge sheet to see what he's been charged with. Other than the pictures that we see on social media, I don't know what else the police have made available to the prosecutor. I have not heard from witnesses. So it's really hard to make any determination as to whether or not this is a case that they can prove based on what they are charging. If they were charging manslaughter, you might say, well, based on the evidence, they might be able to prove it. But if this was a case where they're trying to charge him for first-degree murder, the question is whether or not there's sufficient evidence to prove first-degree murder. I guess that remains to be seen. Well, it had to be based on the pathologist report and witness testimony and other information that they may be able to gather.
So the word murder, there's no other word that we use to charge him. They got to put murder in this case. Use murder there.
I don't know what they're going to charge him with. First of all, I really don't know. But I believe they have manslaughter in Liberia and they also have murder, right? So I don't think they have different categories of murder in Liberia. So, for example, in America, where we have first-degree murder, second-degree murder, and some states even have a third-degree murder. Then you have manslaughter. Then some states have what we call depraved heart murder, right? Which is the gross disregard for human life, right? Depraved heart murder. So where if the prosecutor doesn't believe they can prove first-degree murder because it's not sufficient evidence, they might then charge for a second-degree murder. But if you don't have that different categories of murder in Liberia and you think there's sufficient evidence to bring a murder charge, then you might just charge him with murder.
Wow.
So
thank you so much, man. I mean, go ahead.
No, but I think ultimately, like as I indicated on the onset, that it is highly unfortunate that a young woman lost her life here, and possibly tragically. But it is important for everyone to know that regardless of how you feel about this case or this incident, that Mr. Jackson is presumed innocent. But I would like to see that a thorough investigation ensues from this moving forward. And if the evidence suggests that he may have committed, murder, then he should be charged accordingly and prosecuted robustly so that this woman can, get the justice that she deserves. And everyone should be availed to the same level of, justice or the same level of government intervention when these kinds of things happen. It shouldn't just be because you're a prominent person or you're a foreign national, because there are too many of our people who, are subjected to similar fate. And unfortunately for some of them, they don't get the level of, attention that this case has gotten so far. But we'll see what happens.
Councillor Stephen Freeman, man, it's always a pleasure to get a perspective on these things. And we pray that as we follow this case, you will make yourself available to guide us and give us your legal perspective on what will be unfolding. But I want to believe that the police is intentional because he was invited the day it happened. He was invited, and then he said that he had not slept, so they gave him. They say he would turn himself over this morning, Saturday morning, 11 o'clock. He was at the police station with his lawyer. Then they left from there. They went to the crime scene, and then from there they went back to the station. And then he was told that he can't go home tonight. He will stay at the police station. But then the IG say he has not been charged yet. So I believe that is that where they play the police use that's a gray area, the wiggle area where it's okay. We're not going to charge. The minute you say charge, perhaps then it's in 2 hours kicks in, right? So
well, whether the fact that he's not being detained, they can detain him statutorily for 72 hours. They can detain him. Based on reasonable suspicion, or in this case, probable cause, they can detain him for 72 hours. And if you don't charge him within that time frame, you got to let him go. You can't keep, by letting him go, I mean, you cannot continue to hold him in custody, right? But they can legally detain him now for 72 hours, and that we've seen that being played out as of today.
I think what they're doing right now.
That's what they're doing right now. They're detaining him based on that probable cause that they have enough, more than just a suspicion. They have enough, evidential basis to conclude that he is in fact a suspect here, and they want to carry out further investigation. Now, keep in mind, one of the reasons they're detaining him, I'll just say it up front, is because they don't want him to tamper with any potential witnesses.
Okay.
Yes, he doesn't want him to tamper with witnesses. They don't want him to coerce witnesses. They don't want him to further destroy any evidence or anything of that. So that's part of the reason they're detaining him. I will also argue that Mr. Jackson now, if in fact you conclude he's a suspect, he might then also become a danger to the community. Okay,
so
it might be
is his residence right now. People live with him in residence, work for him. You think the police will keep the presence there?
The police should be talking. The police should have been talking to every one of them that live in that house as of the first day. Separate them, talk to them individually, and then cross-check whatever they're saying to see whether it's consistent.
So right now he's at the police station. You think that they are there? The police at the house now, or?
I don't want to. No, I cannot speculate whether police at his house. I don't want to. I can certainly not speculate that because I'm not there to know what's going on. But I will hope that as of yesterday, or perhaps maybe today, the police have had a chance to talk to the relevant witnesses who were on the scene when the woman, was found. They had a chance to talk to those people. The police doesn't necessarily have to be stationed at his house. There's no reason to do that at this point, right? But I would also hope that the police have had a chance to thoroughly search the crime scene, thoroughly talk to the people who were on the scene at the time when she was found dead or when she was allegedly found in a pool of blood, so that they can ascertain what actually happened. You want to do it in a way that sort of limits people from bringing their minds together and concurrent stories here and there, and hopefully that has already been done. But to continue to keep police person at his home, unless you're saying that you want to continue to do some sort of investigative work at his home, then in that case, you can preserve, the crime scene and continue to do so until you've concluded your investigation. If the police have not concluded the investigation, then it's clearly within the power, the authority to maintain police presence there to preserve the crime scene. But you know, Mr. Jackson, the police were at his house yesterday. At some point, I'm sure they left, or maybe they stayed there, but they were never in the house, and there were people going in and out of the house. So that crime scene, as far as I'm concerned, has already been contaminated. It's contaminated.
Yeah, because I was told by the police source today that when they went there, the playhouse was completely wiped.
The crime scene was contaminated. Okay, you know,
he said, "Oh, we got to reconstruct the scene."
The crime scene, yeah.
How do we do it? I don't know.
And you know, and I know in hindsight, and hopefully they, you know, here's the thing: we cannot keep doing the same thing over and over and expect different results. When a crime occurs, police and the power that be needs to know that even if it's after hour, you can go and knock on the judge's door to sign a warrant.
Oh, really?
Yes. You can knock on the judge's door. In fact, under the Liberian statute, it clearly says night or day. You can get a warrant under the statute, night or day. So you can knock on the judge's door at 10 p.m. in the night if it takes that and say, Your Honor, I'm sorry for disturbing, but we have an urgent matter. We need this warrant to be signed. And then the judge puts the officer who is requesting the warrant on an oath that he has sufficient legal basis to get a warrant. That officer describes what he's going to look for, what may have happened, and then the judge signs or a magistrate signs the warrant and give it to him. That should have been done yesterday. So instead of having 14 police officers or whatever number of police officers you have surrounding his house and they couldn't enter his house, what should have happened? They should have gotten a warrant from a judge and limit the number of people that are going in and out of the house to preserve the crime scene, right? And then go and search the crime scene the same day. But that didn't happen, and you got everybody coming in, going out, Mr. Akira's grave, Mulu, and all the other, you know, young boys you had around there, in and out of the house. It destroys the crime scene. Any crime scene investigator will tell you the importance of maintaining the integrity of the crime scene. Because ultimately, in order for you to prove your case, you have to be able to prove that the crime scene had not been contaminated, that everything you've gathered from it is in fact what, you know, was there when the investigation was being done. So, yeah, people wiping blood, people twisting things and turning things around. So we need to learn from that. That good police work also means that you have to preserve crime scene. Well, I used to have a prosecutor professor when I was in college back in California. He was a chief prosecutor for Long Beach, California, and I was in the criminal justice program. Professor Young. Professor Young told me and told his class that one of his biggest problems in prosecuting people was police officers often mess up the crime scene. They often don't read the Miranda rights. They often over search places that the warrant didn't describe them to search. And so to prevent that from happening, he wanted to make sure that his officers were actually properly trained. They understood the importance of the Fourth Amendment, you know, rights against unreasonable searches and seizures. And same thing can be said about Liberia. You know, law enforcement needs to understand the basics of, you know, preserving crime scene, the basis of, you know, informing criminal defendants of their rights to counsel, right to remain silent, and all those kind of stuff. Because if you don't do that, you got a savvy criminal defense lawyer, you go to court, and on the technicality, they can get an acquittal.
Wow.
Okay.
So it's a possibility that he may be acquitted in this case, right?
It's possible. It's possible. It happens all the time, man.
Wow.
It's not out of the realm of possibility. The state has the burden, and if they don't do their homework properly, they can have the best case. If they cannot put the evidence together in a way that allow them to, you know, present it to a jury so that the jury can believe it, you lose the case, right?
Yeah.
So you can have all the evidence that the crime was committed. If those evidence are not admissible because the crime scene was tainted, okay, or destroyed, then the defense lawyer will say, no, we cannot admit that. We cannot admit that. You have a bunch of people going in and out of that place. The police didn't preserve the crime scene. There's no chain of custody. That's an actual term of art in criminal proceedings. Police have to preserve what they call the chain of custody. In other words, if you take this and say this is a piece of evidence, and you mark this evidence from the custody room, and Peter came and took this evidence in the next room, Peter have to track the time he took that evidence, who else may have had access to that evidence, you're preserving the chain of custody of the evidence. And if you don't do that, a savvy defense lawyer can come to court and say, no, that particular evidence has been tainted. It should not be admissible. And if it can be proven that it was tainted, I don't see why a judge should admit it. Because keep in mind, it's better for a criminal defendant to be set free than for an innocent man to be sent to prison.
So like, again, before we leave, right? So you think now the timeline, the police look at the timeline that Mr. Jackson left his home on that morning, and what's the state of being, where was in, and how long he was out of his house, and then when he called to check on his wife, and they went to his door and said she was sleeping, and so forth, and whether the door locked, whether he opened, he came back, he opened it with keys or not. These are things they're looking at right now, you think?
All of that. Look, all of that becomes important. Mr. Jackson says he, and I recall him correctly saying that he and his wife had a wedding to go to his cousin's wedding. He told his wife he was going to OKFM, and that while he was at OKFM, he contacted his cook to check on the wife. The cook said the wife may have been sleeping. He said, oh, okay. And then when he came, he met his wife in the pool of blood. All that time now becomes critically important. Because
he opened the door with key, when the cook knocked the door, was it locked?
All of that becomes important, correct. And because you're trying to establish, first of all, you want to see whether there's consistency in his story. Because keep in mind, the fact that Mr. Jackson said he was at this OKFM, that's an alibi. That's an alibi. That's a very important alibi. In other words, he's saying that at the time my wife may have hit her head, I was not home. I was somewhere else. That's an alibi. I'm not suggesting that he was actually trying to intentionally establish an alibi, but that is in effect an alibi. In other words, call OKFM. They'll tell you that I got at 2 p.m., for example, and I was there until 5 p.m. And when I left my wife, she was fine. She was active. She was having lunch. Okay. And at some point, when I called to check on her, I was told she was sleeping. And then when I came home, I met her in a pool of blood. All of that becomes important. You have to talk to the witnesses, the cook. Where did they see the wife before they finally decided she was sleeping? What state was she in when they last saw her? Did it talk to her? What did she say? Had there been any incident of abuse that they have witnessed in the past? All of that becomes relevant. All of that goes to, his intent.
Wow.
So we'll see.
Well, let's see what happened on Monday. Monday's holiday. Let's see what happened on Tuesday, perhaps.
Yeah, that's it. Hopefully the government brings the best mind. If the government decides to move forward by prosecuting, I will hope that the government allocate the necessary resources to this case. Because it's one thing to charge someone, but it's equally very important, if not even more important, to be able to secure a conviction. Otherwise, it's pointless to be bringing these charges, and then you don't allocate the necessary resources so that the government can actually secure a conviction. I wouldn't want, if Mr. Jackson, if the evidence show he actually committed a crime here, I wouldn't want to see him, let go free, because a life was lost, and if someone actually committed a crime, that person should be held accountable.
Yes.
No matter who that person is, should be held accountable.
Yes.
So, yeah. Anyway, man, Tomalin, it's nice speaking to you as usual.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you so much all the time to come and help us to unpack.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much. Enjoy
My pleasure, brother. You too.
You.
Yeah. Bye.
Well, folks, I hope we had a nice time taking time for our Saturday evening to come and talk to you all. So, and if you want to buy some, see our T-shirt, the closing argument T-shirt is available now. There's a sweater. See this one? The closing argument. We set the stage to bring the argument. The T-shirt is on sale now. Also, I got the other one. Yeah, they showed this, the other one, another one, the white one. It's here too. See it? Closing argument T-shirt. It's available. Oh. Yeah. Closing argument T-shirt. You want it? Contact me. Contact Peabody. Contact Pewee. You get a T-shirt. You know, nice T-shirt. You get it. See, we wear. You know, this is the short sleeve, the white one, different colors. And I'm wearing the sweater. You know, a little bit. We're going to spring, so a little bit. Hey, look at my boy, CFR. We're going to spring now, so wearing something, you know, not too cold, but that's something warm, keep you warm. You see it? Closing argument. Wearing the microphone. Try to patronize the closing argument, man. Buy the T-shirt, put in for it. $20. I mean, it's just $20 for this one. Yeah, $20. And the T-shirt, yeah, short sleeve, different colors. Got blue, got white, different colors. So let us know. You get your, you know. Yeah. Oh, really? What the person say? They have asked all 2 of the children in the house already. Oh, really? Wow. 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 Sefa, where you at this Saturday evening? Sefa Dix, where you at? I know you're home because it's cold. I mean, the weather not bad. The weather changed though. But yeah. Today it was the birthday of my late brother. He passed away. I've not seen him since the armed men invaded the hospital where he was admitted, and it took them away. Yes, if I would do that. And tomorrow is my sister's birthday in Michigan, Musu. Then Monday is my birthday. Is Monday. The chief himself birthday will be on Monday. Monday I'll be celebrating my birthday. Oh, okay. Banner David, you say they were the first to go, but they said they left one person there. They freed one person and left one there. So the police know what they're up to. But hope everybody enjoying the weekend. If you're in Liberia, the price of gas, I think, is take care how you use it, how you travel now. You're planning to travel. What's happening in the Middle East is affecting the whole world now. Oh, Self said they coming storm. Storm again? Hey man, when will stop? So you guys prepare for the gasoline crisis shortage. We pray that. Let us pray. Tomorrow you go to church, places of worship. Pray so that this war in the Middle East can come to an end, so we can go back to normalcy. We won't experience shortage of petroleum products, because you know once it's on even the jet proof that are used for the plane, the prices of air flight, of domestic flight will go up. Even for those who traveling to around the world, Africa and places, the ticket price will go up because the jet fuel price goes up, and it will affect the travel. So let's pray that this will come to an end. And also in Liberia, we can't afford in Liberia to. I heard I've got 2 months supply of petroleum products in Liberia, so I pray that this can come to an end so that we can be back to normalcy. Yeah, tomorrow you go to church, you pray. Pray that everything in the Middle East might come to an end. You know, we say we won't start a war no more, so let's pray for it. Okay, Mr. Gayman, I pray you having you traveling. I pray for safe travels for you and your family, and I pray that we'll be back on Monday here, maybe tomorrow or so. What is it? Say, so you need to be careful with giving Uncle SPJ info. The Hana. Banners, David, what do you mean by that? Yeah. Okay, bye-bye. Well, we pray for things to come back to normalcy. But all in all, let's pray that justice will be no gas at LPRC reserve. What are you talking to, Patrick Kennedy? Patrick Kennedy, bye. If I want no gas, I'm being like Rose. Just for to say the government get gas. Patrick Kennedy, you want gas? I'm feeling like bro today. But you follow you. Yeah, but anyway. Well, enjoy your weekend. Take care of yourself. I talked to my brother Costa. We chatted today. Let's say he's playing low, focusing on his business. You're not gonna. So, but anyway, guys, take care of yourself. Okay, Uncle Sam, yeah. So do you need to be oh, that's life. Okay, folks. Let me enjoy my other weekend too now. Thank you. Have a nice one. Okay. Good night. Mind watching my comment. Mind as soon as this we leave the show, comment. Mind be watching. I know you're going home and comment. Good night, folks.